Wir begeben uns dort auf die Seite, dass wir das Bild nicht stören. Und wenn ihr uns jetzt mithelft, dann wäre das großartig. Es geht nämlich los in 9, 8, 7.
Hello everybody and welcome to the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS DACH Pro Final 2026, coming to you from beautiful Schladming, Austria. Today, 16 of the best athletes from Germany, Austria and Switzerland will be competing for that DACH title, and it is going to be a great show on stage. We have a lot of action. We have the International Pro format. That means 6 disciplines, 3 rounds, and by rounds number 3, we'll have 6 of these 16 athletes remaining in the competition to see who will be atop that stage. Now, Danny Martin is the reigning champion. He wants to be back on top, but he has quite a list of athletes that are going to be chasing him to try and be atop that podium today. Now we're going to head over to the main stage and check out the action that's happening there. And Marcus Floaty is going to be our host there on stage in Schladming. And we'll get to introduce you to a number of very special individuals, and we'll also see the stage that our athletes are going to be playing on today. Our first discipline that's going to be coming up is already set to go, so it's just about getting over there and getting the action going. But a few of the house cleaning details still to be taken care of before we actually start the competition. And there we see Floaty, Marcus Float, getting the audience into the action, and we'll bring out a few important individuals onto the stage. First and foremost, we want to bring out a very important special guest here, and that is the Bürgermeister of Schladming, and that is Hermann Trinker. And joining him will also be a director of the Toursport Schladming Dachstein, Michael Schütz. Any chance that you can give me more volume in my headset for Atmo?
Dieses Format gibt es seit 25 Jahren. Heuer ist 100 Jahre STIHL, habe ich gehört, und das 3. Mal in Schladming. Also, was wüsst mehr? Großartig. Danke, dass ihr da seid, und ich wünsche euch eine großartige Unterhaltung. Danke.
Vielen Dank, Herr Bürgermeister.
Als Geschäftsführer von STIHL freut es mich natürlich ganz besonders, so viele STIHL-Fans hier zu sehen. Da lacht das STIHL-Herz natürlich. Wir sind zum 3. Mal zu Gast hier. Wir feiern heuer 100-jähriges Bestehen des Familienunternehmens STIHL, und wir freuen uns, dass zwischen Helene Fischer, den Backstreet Boys, Andreas Gabalier auch STIHL hier zu Gast sein darf. In diesem weltbekannten Ort Schladming. Habt heute viel Spaß, genießt die Show. Es wird euch sicher gefallen. Viel Spaß.
Vielen Dank, Alex. Und da sind wir wirklich in guter Gesellschaft. Und Michael, du bist einer, der damit auch ein bisschen verantwortlich ist.
Ja, das ist richtig. Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, liebe Gäste, liebe Athletinnen und Athleten. Im Namen vom Tourismusverband Schladming-Dachstein darf ich euch sehr, sehr herzlich bei uns in der Region begrüßen. Es ist uns wirklich eine große Ehre, dass wir seit 9 Jahren wieder mal die tolle Veranstaltung bei uns durchführen dürfen. Die Region Schladming-Dachstein ist ja stark verbunden mit den Wäldern, mit der Natur. Und gerade deswegen gibt es eigentlich fast keine bessere Kulisse wie bei uns da in Schladming-Dachstein. Ich danke jedem, den Organisatorinnen, den Organisatoren, den Helferinnen, den Helfern, vor allem eng Athletinnen und Athleten, denn nur durch eng ist so eine tolle Veranstaltung möglich. Genießt jetzt noch den heutigen Tag und den morgigen Tag. Ich wünsche faire Wettkämpfe, eine tolle Stimmung. Dem Publikum, da habe ich noch eine Bitte, feuert ordentlich an. Ich weiß, die Motoren sind laut, aber motiviertes Publikum kann es sicher toppen. Habt noch einen schönen Aufenthalt bei uns, und jetzt lasst die Athletinnen und Athleten starten. Schönen Aufenthalt noch da. Danke.
Vielen, vielen Dank. Was für ein Auftakt. Perfekt. Vielen Dank. Sehr gerne. Und ihr habt es gehört, wir sind bereit für die Athleten. Ich hoffe, das ist bei euch auch der Fall und ihr begrüßt sie alle lautstark. Es haben 7 deutsche Athleten es hier ins Finale geschafft, 6 Schweizer und 3 Österreicher.
All right, so we'll be moving on with the introductions of the athletes as well as our on-stage and backstage judging crew. We do have quite an important list of athletes that are going to be coming up, but we also want to make sure we introduce a few of the important key people that will be keeping a close eye on the action here today, as well as making sure that the contest is fairly run and operated.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Spike Milton.
So coming up onto the stage right now, we have our Global Sports Director, Spike Milton. Spike is a former athlete and transitioned to a corporate role and takes care of the wood selection as well as making sure that the competitions are done as fairly as possible. Now on stage we have 2 judges, Bart Janssen and Andrew Hall. There's Bart Janssen followed by Andrew Hall, and we will see these 2 gentlemen on stage. They'll be officiating the actual chopping and sawing disciplines throughout the day to make sure that everything is fair. And of course, we do have a video judge. You don't see him very much, but Schul Janssen is sitting in the competition control center and keeping a very close eye on all of our very high-speed cameras and the technical aspect of things. And there we see Schul. And, you know, if there is something untoward on stage, then you get a chance to take a look at those high-speed cameras and see how they really get to work. Hopefully we don't need him too much today, but yeah, we'll see how the contest goes as the day goes on. So in the meantime, let's get down to it. 16 fantastic athletes, and we're going to bring up on stage right now. And first from Germany, Thomas Hofbauer. Next up, the young man, we call him the granddaddy caddy in German timber sports. That is none other than Peter Bauer, a veteran of the sport, 46 years young, and has been an instrumental athlete in timber sports in Germany. Not only because of the level that he brings to the sport, but also because of the support that he gives all of the other up-and-coming athletes along the way. Now, we did say there are 7 German athletes in the mix here today. The third one coming up onto stage is one of the younger guys, Florian Hegele.
Es folgt der 28-jährige Kfz-Mechaniker, der 2025
Next coming up, we have another young guy who has been on the climb in the last few years, a great ambassador for German timber sports, and that is Marcel Steinkemper.
Ein ganz, ganz starkes deutsches Team und das trifft auch auf den nächsten zu.
And very likely, speaking of team, we'll very likely see Marcel Steinkemper joining the German team at the World Championships later this year in October. In the meantime, let's bring up Nils Müller. Could fairly say that Nils is the smiling Buddha of German timber sports.
Von dem verstorbenen neunfachen Weltmeister Jason Wynyard. Herzlich willkommen, Mr.
Next up we have Denny Vielwert. Came close to it last year. Denny, also one of those up-and-coming athletes in German timber sports. He needs that one little step, and he will be the guy that everybody is going to be taking a very close look at from behind. All right, the reigning champion coming from Germany. Very, very adept with a motor saw in hand, but he has been improving in every aspect. He is a very well-rounded timber sports athlete, and that is none other than Denny Martin. All right, now moving on to our Swiss athletes. And now
2025, und das haben vielleicht einige gesehen, hat er bei der Guinness World Record Show einen Rekord am Springboard aufgesetzt und er besitzt 5 Singlebucks und 35 Äxte. Bitte sagen wir herzlich willkommen.
All right, bringing him up, our first Swiss athlete, Severin Bühler.
Ebenfalls aus der Schweiz und erst seit 2024 hier beim Sport dabei.
All right, next up, coming into our on-stage area will be another Swiss athlete. We have 7 of them as well. Rolf Hassler. Rolf, one of the new generation athletes, focusing on extreme fitness and making sure that his body is ready and capable to go through all of the milestones that are part of timber sports. All right, next up, another one of those veteran athletes. He's been around the sport a long, long time. And another fantastic ambassador for STIHL Timbersports is Pirmin Gnedinger. And now we're talking about one of the young guns and one of those guys that has high potential. There is a open ceiling for this man, and he just needs to stay healthy. This year he's been looking very good. He's been injured the last few years, but right now Oliver Reinhardt is looking strong and ready to go. Now, of the last 2 athletes for Switzerland coming up on stage, a real granddaddy caddy, an absolute legend in Swiss timber sports. He has been around forever, competing from the very early days, Christophe Geissler. He's halfway towards a century and still a relevant athlete, and everybody shows absolute respect for this man right here as he comes up on stage. And next up onto the stage will be our final Swiss athlete before we introduce our 3 Austrian athletes, and that is none other than Cyril Papst.
Ja, und jetzt hoffe ich, seid ihr bereit für die 3 Österreicher hier im Starterfeld. Sind wir bereit? Bereit für die 3 Österreicher? Bereit, ein bisschen Lärm zu machen, Schladming? Ein bisschen Heimvorteil.
All right, now for the home athletes. One of those guys that's been pushing his way with sweat and grinding and power and dedication. He is an absolute dog when it comes to the competition. It is Lukas Wagesreiter. He does not like to lose. And he is, you will see this, an absolute horse when it comes to fighting his way through every single cut. All right, our next Austrian coming up has competed in one single event this year. He's got his work cut out for him, but his fitness will play a massive role here, everybody. Let's introduce now Gunther Dahlinger. And finally, rounding out our 16 athletes that will be competing today, a perennial winner for Austria and a man you can never underestimate. He has won the Austrian Championship numerous times, too many times to count here. You need a hand and a half to get it, but it is none other than Armin Kugler. So 16 athletes from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland getting ready to compete here on that beautiful stage for the DACH Pro Championship 2026. As we take one last look at all our guys before they vacate the stage and get ready for the first heats coming up on stage in our underhand shop. So it is going to be fantastic action here today for the next 2.5 to 3 hours, and we hope you enjoy all of this STIHL Timbersports coming your way, because it is going to be fully loaded here in Schladming, Austria. Okay, so those are our guys. We are ready to go, but we still have a little bit of housekeeping, as I like to say here. Let's take a look at our competition format for the day and all of our 6 disciplines and how it's going to round out throughout the day. The STIHL Timbersports individual competition. In the first round, all athletes compete in 3 disciplines: the underhand chop, the stock saw, and the standing block chop. The times achieved will be converted into points upon completion of each discipline.
I'll just try
in
and
round
keep,
1,
give me
a
the
difference of 1 point applies in each discipline. Thus, the fastest athlete received 12 points and the slowest only 1 point. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification, and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. At the end of the first round, the athletes with the lowest scores are eliminated. Only 8 athletes make it to the second round. In this second round, the remaining athletes compete in the single buck and the springboard for increased scores. With 2 points difference between placings, the fastest athlete now receives 16 points and the slowest receives 2. The 2 athletes with the lowest total points are eliminated at the end of round 2. Only the top 6 reach the third round. In the third round, anything is still possible in the hot saw, as an increased score interval of 3 points applies in this final round. The fastest athlete can score up to 18 points at the hot saw, the slowest only 3 points. The athlete who manages to achieve the highest total score across all 3 rounds is the new champion. Six disciplines, 3 rounds, 1 champion at the end of the day today. So it is going to be full-fledged, full-on, I won't say war, but it is going to be a battle on stage to get those points. Now, we will see throughout the entire competition 2 guys competing against each other on stage. That doesn't mean it's an elimination format. It just means that these 2 guys are on stage together and will try and work with each other and against each other as well to get the fastest time and maybe have that adrenaline really working. Let's take a look now at the tool and discipline for our first discipline, the underhand chop. The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut through a 32 centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides. Okay, so there's our starting list, 16 athletes, 8 heats, and we're going to get things going with Lukas Wageschreiter and Florian Hegele. Now, I mentioned this, I'd just like to repeat myself a little bit, that these guys are on stage together against each other, but it's not an elimination heat. They're just trying to get as many points as possible, and as you heard in this first round, top possible points is 16 because of 16 athletes, and it differentiates 1 point between each position as we go down the list. So Lukas Wageschreiter going up against Florian Hegele, Severin Bühler against Peter Bauer, Thomas Hofbauer against Pirmin Gnedinger, Nils Müller, Christophe Geissler, and the rest of the list as we go down. And there is our beautiful stage with a good crowd on hand as we get ready for the first heat of the day between Lukas Wageschreiter and Florian Hegele. And tail of the tape here, those little yellow-orange signs down at the bottom with their personal bests, has Florian Hegele with a slight advantage, but as I said, Lukas Wageschreiter is a dog when it comes to competition, and he does not like to lose, and we'll see him giving his all in this competition. And let's see if he is going to go for full pace here or if he's going to go for full power.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Quick start by Florian Hegele as he timed that entry into the block really, really nicely. I think maybe very close to the start gun. And wow, you can really see he's chipping out nicely. Quick to that second side. Well ahead of Lukas Wagereiter, as now Lukas is onto the second side, about 5 strokes behind Hegele. Hegele really clean cuts, but Wagereiter going in for power there, and Hegele should be through there fairly quickly as he's got one more chop to do it. Oh, he's got a sticky piece of wood there, and he's done it in 29.41, and Wagereiter, has it in 32.13. Those times, by the way, right off the hop are unofficial until our judges and our competition control center gets their hands on it and gives us the check mark. And very often what you'll see is those times will improve ever so slightly by a 1/10 of a second, sometimes a full second, after the competition control center has their way. And this we do actually see Lukas Wagereiter a 31.78 and Florian Hegele a 29.18. So a little bit of improvement on both fronts there. And of course a big shout out as always to our stage crew, otherwise known as the woodchucks, as Floaty likes to call them. And here we see a really, really beautiful start from Lukas Wagereiter. Say that 10 times fast. Here's Florian Hegele. As you can see, there was still a little piece of wood hanging on the bottom. He knew he had to have a foot back up on that block in order to cut through, and that was a very nice finishing cut from Lukas. All right, 2 more blocks remaining on stage. 1 more heat to go here, and then we'll have a quick block change. It's going to be Severin Bühler against Peter Bauer. Very closely matched up pair here. Severin Bühler did participate in a Guinness Book of World Records program a few years ago where he did a springboard. So interesting to see how the springboard goes for him if he makes it through to that second round. Throughout the day, we'll also be looking at different styles of chopping and sawing, in particular the underhand chop. Sometimes we're seeing guys swing from the heavens for heavy drivers into that block. Sometimes we're seeing the guys go for speed hits instead.
Ready.
All right, here we go. Heat number 2.
Timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Dead even start by both of these guys. Peter Bauer got that chip out a little bit faster than Severin. Severin's axe got stuck in there ever so briefly, but you can see here, nice pace by Peter Bauer. Good 8 hits on that first side, switches over quickly to the second side, but Severin Bühler with a little bit of advantage, I would say, on that second side. Peter Bauer going for those power hits on side number 2 here. Severin Bühler coming close to it, but it's Peter Bauer with the quick cut, and he's got a personal best, 24.68. Very nice. And a 26.37 for Severin. Great cut by Peter Bauer. It looked like he was a hair slower on that second side, but in fact his drivers were very, very nicely lined up and super efficient, so that put him fastest on the day so far.
Both cuts are good.
And there you see an adjustment by our competition control center for Severin. Also gave him a personal best. So those 2 gentlemen atop the underhand chop results in 1 and 2 positions as we take a look back here. So right into the block right away. 2 on the left side, 2 on the right side. Really, really nice cuts there from Peter Bauer. Severin Bühler looking really good as well. Here, those last couple of drivers for Peter Bauer. Beautiful finish there and a personal best. Like to see that. The wood's been chopping very, very nicely this year as well. I mean, what a view in the background there, or foreground, I would say. It looks like we may have a quick interview with Peter Bauer and Floaty.
Das ist sehr, sehr gut gelungen. Der Experte will sicher auch noch was wissen.
So, geht jetzt das mit der Personal Best in jeder Disziplin so weiter?
Oh, ich muss sagen, ich habe geschaut, dass ich im Fluss bleibe und keinen Haker. Erste Seiten habe ich 2 so kleine Haker gehabt. Man denkt, zweite Seite muss jetzt richtig Gas geben und ja, hat hingehauen.
Gratuliere.
Tut schon richtig gut, oder? So Personal Best.
Ja, mal richtig in den Wettkampf reinkommen und das ist schon mal ein gutes Zeichen.
Ein großartiger Start, genau das, was wir uns erhofft haben. Volle Konzentration noch hier bei diesem Underhand-Job. Was mich auch immer interessiert, wie schützen denn die Jungs bitte ihre Beine? Das ist doch, wenn man da mal abrutscht, nicht so angenehm, oder?
Also grundsätzlich einmal sind die super trainiert, da gibt es kein Abrutschen. Wenn es trotzdem passieren sollte, haben wir Netzstrümpfe, die gibt's. Die schauen ungefähr so aus wie beim Metzger die Handschuhe. Und sollte ein Fehlschlag passieren, dann ist es voll super zum Reparieren.
Okay, aber das sind ganz besondere Netzstrümpfe. Ich denke auch immer so ein bisschen an die Ritter. In der
Genau,
guten
genau.
alten Zeit.
Also ich hatte von einem der Judges ein Foto gesehen vom letzten Wettbewerb, wo wirklich bei den Rookies ein Fehlschlag war. Grundsätzlich ohne den Schutz war der Fuß weg und da hat er einfach nur einen blauen Fleck gehabt. Also wirklich, wirklich sehr sicher, sehr gut, sehr angenehm aber auch zum Tragen.
Und auch ganz, ganz wichtig, denn das ist eine dieser Disziplinen, wo ganz, ganz viel zusammenspielt. Was übrigens auch hier in Schladming super zusammenspielt. Sonnenschein, Top-Athleten aus Deutschland, Österreich und der Schweiz und ein Wahnsinnspublikum. Vielleicht für alle, für den Livestream hier nochmal zeigen, wie es hier in Schladming aussieht, wie es stimmungstechnisch ist.
Floaty, always good to get it going for the crowd. So just a really quick recap. Peter Bauer talking about trying to get the personal bests out of the way as quickly as possible and trying to keep that flow going throughout the cuts and making sure those cuts are nice and clean. And they talked briefly about the protection that these guys have on their legs. It's a chainmail sock so that if the unexpected happens and the axe slips and hits the leg, that the leg is protected. It was mentioned there that one of the rookies actually ended up slipping and the axe hit him in the leg pretty hard at an earlier competition, and that without those chainmail socks that foot would be gone, but there is that great protection there. Okay, on to our next heat here with Thomas Hofbauer and Pirmin Gnedinger. Pirmin, really, really nice personal best time there on the underhand chop. I expect to see him have a good time here. Looks
Okay,
like he's
gentlemen.
using the chisel axe there.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, nice start by Hofbauer. He got in there and chipped out really, really quickly. Gnedinger also looking good. You can see those big chips flying away. Clean scarves on the side of that block. Oh, both of them hopping to the other side of their block at the same time. What a matchup this is turning out to be. Gnedinger getting those chips out of the way quickly. Hofbauer with a little bit more of an open face on that second side is going to come close. Who's it going to be cutting through that block first? It is going to be Hofbauer by a hair. Oh, Gnedinger steps down, and that cost him about a second and a half. So it's 27.45 for Hofbauer and a 36.9 for Gnedinger. He's going to be satisfied with that cut. He was quick on that first side. Both guys were, in fact. And then my favorite, the hop around to the second side by both gentlemen.
Both cuts are good.
Just a little unfortunate step down by Pirmin, and that cost him about a second and a half. But Thomas Hofbauer sitting in third place right now after an excellent underhand chop here. And you can see on Pirmin's side, he had a really great first side. Both of these guys hopping onto that second side quickly, and a couple of nice big chips flying out. Good clean scarves on both sides of these guys' cuts. So yeah, really, really accurate and powerful hitting. And there's that step down. And just those little tiny things can cost so much time. All right, next up we have Nils Müller and Christophe Geissler. Look at the time from Christophe Geissler, holding the national record for Switzerland. Unbelievable. At 52 years young, still challenging all of the young guys in STIHL Timbersports. Nils Müller is a powerful man, though, and if he can get that flow going and really, really target that axe nicely, we could see a great time. And Christophe Geissler, I mean, what does it say right there? 12-time national champion. That says it all, in fact. Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
What I really appreciate about the way that Christophe Geissler cuts is he no longer just goes for those power drivers. he's also picking up the pace, and both of them onto that second side. This could be quick cuts for both Niels Müller and Christophe Geissler. Niels Müller likes a wide open face. Oh, it's a new national record for Christophe Geissler, 19:18, and a fantastic personal best for Niels Müller, taking 8 seconds off. 3 seconds off his previous personal time. Just about. So fantastic run there. And that's the great thing about seeing two guys on stage here at the same time. You know that you've got a great athlete in Christophe Geissler across from you, and that has the adrenaline flowing for Niels Müller. And what happens? A personal best. Great job by both gentlemen. Looks like there's a little bit of communication with the
this cut is
competition
good
control center.
for Switzerland with a new national record. The cut is good.
18.85 seconds, so actually a nearly 1 second improvement for Christophe Geissler. That is impressive. Take a look back here at the slow-mo. Fantastic second sides by Niels Müller and Christophe Geissler, but Christophe just absolutely deadly accurate on those cuts, and Niels Müller, fantastic finish for him as well against one of the absolutely fantastic athletes from the time. 12-time national champion, and now a new national record for Christophe Geissler in the underhand chop. And we'll take a moment here to allow our stage crew and the athletes to put their own blocks in. And I must mention that as well. The athletes are required in the rulebook in STIHL Timbersports to take the blocks that they've been allotted in the lottery and set those blocks into the stands and close the dogs and secure the thing in place so that they can't say somebody put it in wrong or incorrectly or the other way around. And wasn't expecting the onus is on the athletes to be responsible for their blocks, and their blocks are received through a lottery system, so it's not like somebody just hands them the block and then says, here you go, this is yours, cut away. They actually have to pull a number, and that is the block that is associated with that number. All right, so we're going to hear from Adrian Übing, who is with Floaty right now.
Erst wieder bei einem Wettkampf gewonnen und bist voll motiviert hier in Schladming. Wann wird man dich morgen zu sehen bekommen?
Es geht um 11 los und ja, dann machen wir unsere 4 Disziplinen. Wir fangen mit der Stocksaw an, mit der Motorsäge. Dann machen wir als nächste Disziplin das Standing, wo das Holz halt so eingespannt ist. Dann arbeiten wir mit der Singleback, der langen Handsäge. Und zum Schluss machen wir den Underhand, wo wir auf dem Holz draufstehen.
So just talking about the 4 disciplines that the women's competition entails that will be happening tomorrow. Alrin is the reigning German champion, absolutely fantastic athlete, and she's just talking about how the different disciplines are lined up.
Nicht nur die Burschen, sondern auch die Mädels, die hier richtig abrocken. Du bist das beste Beispiel dafür. Danke. Und man kann sich das auch ja, genauso vorstellen, wie wir jetzt hier zu sehen bekommen. Aber was wäre so deine Motivation, um anderen Frauen, die jetzt hier zuschauen, vielleicht sagen, hey, ich würde das gerne mal probieren. Wie macht man es denn am besten? Bei dir hat sich das ja eher zufällig damals ergeben, oder?
Ja, bei mir hat sich das damals zufällig ergeben. Ich habe Brennholz gemacht und meine Säge war zu klein, und beim Recherchieren, was die nächstgrößere Säge kann, bin ich dann zufällig auf einen Newsticker gestoßen zum Thema Timbersports, und dann habe ich so ein Probetraining mitgemacht und bin dann gleich hängen geblieben. Kann passieren, ich bin froh, dass es passiert ist.
The question from Floaty was, how she got into the sports and how other women could potentially get into the sports, and Alrin's answer is she sort of fell into it. She was cutting firewood and her saw was just a little bit too small, so she looked to try and get a bigger saw and saw a news ticker, and there was information about STIHL Timbersports, and she just sort of fell into it and sort of stuck with it, and here she is, reigning German champion.
Ja, und so wird man dann eine der besten Sportholzfällerinnen der Welt. Vielen Dank, Alro, wir freuen uns auf morgen. Nicht verpassen, um 11 Uhr sind dann die Damen dran. Das wird auch noch richtig, richtig cool.
Should also mention that this year there was the first ever Women's World Championship that happened in Budapest, Hungary. And that was a fantastic event, and we are for sure going to be seeing more of that as the women's sports side of timber sports is really, really climbing the ranks as an exciting way to spend an afternoon, and along with the men, it keeps things very, very interesting. Okay, our next heat coming up, we have Cyril Papst going up against Armin Kugler. Keep an eye on Cyril, national pro champion 23 and 25. Represented Switzerland at the World Championships. And Armin Kugler, as I said in the introductions when they all came onto stage, he's been 11-time national pro champion. Too many times to count, needing an extra hand just to get him started. One of those guys that you always have to watch out for.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Good pace by both Cyril and Armin. Ooh, bit of a sticky one there for Armin. We should see them switching over. They're almost in sync with each other. That sync changes a little bit as they switch over to the second side. Armin Kugler with a 1.5-2 driver lead on that second side, but Cyril Papst looks like he's getting pretty close to splitting that block, but it's going to go to Armin Kugler in an even 23, and Cyril Papst 2 seconds and change later with a 25.51. Keep an eye on those times again, folks. We'll probably see both of them improve ever so slightly. And Armin Kugler, with that time at the moment, slips into third place in the overall standings, as well as the underhand chop being the first discipline out. Christophe Geissler.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Christophe Geissler with his 18.85 and a national record has that top spot, but a great job by Armin Kugler to keep himself in the mixed with a couple more heats to go here. Very, very nice run. Solid, consistent performances is what's needed for these guys to get through. And let's not forget, after the first 3 disciplines, we're going to cut this field in half and take only 8 athletes into the next round. So this should be an interesting heat right here between Gunther Dahlinger and Danny Martin. Danny Martin, personal best 19.25. Will he be able to cut that super clean today and beat the time of Christophe Geissler? If he can stick with the 19 and change, he will be among the top positions there. We'll see how it goes. We know that Danny has been working very hard to make sure that he is on point in all 6 of the disciplines.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, very quick start by Gunther Dahlinger. It could even be that he might have jumped the gun. Hopefully that's not the case, because that would be grounds for a DQ, but he is quick to that second side, pushing Danny Martin a little bit. He got a bit of a sticky axe there, but it didn't seem to have bothered him, and we may well see a quick time from Gunther Dahlinger, although he's got a couple 3 sticky ones there, and it's caused him problems. 20.46 for Danny Martin and 22.10 for Gunther Dahlinger, who looked like he was going to be fast today, but 3 or 4 sticky axes caused him problems and took away his time. Nevertheless, Danny Martin with a solid run of 20.18, sitting in second place, and Gunther Dahlinger 21.85, and it's been adapted, does have himself
Both cuts are good.
a personal best as well, so that's a great run from Gunther Dahlinger. And no DQ there either, so that's good to see. And Gunther Dahlinger sitting in 4th place right now, just behind Nils Müller. Look how clean the scarf is on the side there. That's that angled part of the wood that the axe is entering the block on. Now, Gunther Dahlinger had a very fast first side. Did he shortcut it? I don't think so. And then on the second side, you can see he got that axe caught in there, stuck a couple of times, and that was the downfall to his quicker time. But nevertheless, it was a very, very nice run, and he managed to get himself a personal best. Okay, last 2 heats coming up, and our blocks are being changed on stage right now. Coming up in heat number 7, we have Olli Reinhard from Switzerland going up against Marcel Steinkemper. A couple of young guys that have been competing against each other in the rookies and then graduating into the pros. Both of them high potential. Olli Reinhard injured himself a few years ago in Vienna, cutting his hand in his pro debut in the trophy format, and wasn't able to continue in that event, and it's just been sort of an unfortunate set of injuries for him over the last little while, but now he seems healthy and ready to go.
Ja, und den habe ich mir natürlich geschnappt, den Man to Beat. Die erste Disziplin, die ist ein bisschen so zum Reinkommen und die ist aber auch psychologisch nicht unwesentlich. Du warst nicht hundertprozentig zufrieden, habe ich vom Gesichtsausdruck gesehen, aber du bist trotzdem entspannt, du hast trotzdem ein Lächeln im Gesicht.
Du kennst mich doch, ich bin nie zufrieden. Aber ja, du sagst es, mal gut in den Wettkampf reinstarten. Ich glaube, damit habe ich ganz gut gestartet. Hätte es ein bisschen besser laufen können, Klagen auf hohem Niveau. Ich habe den Block ein bisschen schlechter eingeschätzt und wusste dann in der Mitte eigentlich nicht mehr so richtig, was ich machen soll und habe einfach meinen Automatismus den Block klären lassen. Und bin ich ganz happy mit, glaube ich. Also Top 5 ist drin. Jetzt sind noch ein paar Jungs hinter mir, die mit Sicherheit meinen deutschen Rekord knacken wollen. Bisschen Pressure auf die Jungs. Gebt euch Mühe, dass der auch mal geknackt wird, dass ich wieder ihn knacken kann.
Yeah, okay, so talking with Danny Martin here really quickly, Floji said you didn't look really satisfied, and Danny's response was, basically, I'm never satisfied, but, you know, top 5 at the moment, and, you know, there's a couple of guys from the German side that want to break his record, so he's hoping that they can, so that he can come back and break their record.
Ja, das überschätzen die meisten. Viele sagen natürlich, wir gehen in den Wald und hacken Holz. Es ist nicht richtig, es ist auf jeden Fall eine nachhaltige Sache. Das ist alles Energieholz und die Sache ist so, dass man durch 20 Sekunden, alles was so um da rumspielt, weiß man nicht mehr so viel danach. Man ist wirklich im Fokus, der Tunnel, und ja, da muss alles aus dem Automatismus kommen. Wenn man da groß überlegen muss, ja, ich muss jetzt noch 2 unten oder irgendwas, das funktioniert nicht. Also das ist sehr, sehr viel Training, sehr, sehr viel Blöcke, sehr viel Hacken. Lernt mal durch Hacken.
So he says a lot of people underestimate what timber sports really is. They think that it's just going into the woods and cutting trees down or something like that. And it's he says it could be anything but the truth. That it's a lot of training and practice and making sure that you have that muscle memory, that automatismus, as he said, so that every move that you make on stage is rehearsed and practiced, and you don't have to do a lot of thinking when you're on the block. You just cut. All right, next heat coming up, we have Olli Reinhard and Marcel Steinkemper, two guys that have been in the pros the last 2-3 years. As I was mentioning, Oliver Reinhard struggling with some injuries over the last couple of years, but he seems healthy and ready to go. His personal best for the underhand is 20.07, so that is a very good time. And again, if he can get close to that, he will be among the top 2-3 athletes here. Marcel Steinkemper, his personal best is a 20.71. So both of these guys pretty evenly matched up, so this should be a fun one to watch. Here we go.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, now watch the pace that these two guys utilize here, in particular Olli Reinhard. He's going for number of hits as quickly as possible. Steinkemper, he's a very technical hitter. He is very accurate and very powerful as well. You can see he got to that second side quite quickly, and we should see him get through there pretty quick. And a nice personal best by Steinkemper, taking a good amount off his best time. 19.67, Olli Reinhard with a 20.43. Really, really nice times there. All right, we may have a small problem here.
Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
No, that's good. I'm glad to see that, because it did look like Marcel came very, very close to that foothold line. And you definitely don't want to cut over the foothold line, because that could result in a disqualification. Let's see if we could see what happened here. Oh, really nice, clean drivers by Marcel. He is just so accurate with the axe. Olli has gone for a lot of pace there. You can see a little step, but very, very nice and clean by Olli. And Marcel, excuse me. But that was a great time. And again, Olli looking super clean on his cuts as well. So obviously both gentlemen have been making sure that they are trained and have that muscle memory down pat. Okay, the last heat in the underhand chop and our last heat in this first discipline of round one. Rolf Hassler, going up against Denny Vielwert. Denny, safely say he's one of the unsung heroes of German timber sports. He's been battling his way up the rankings. He's a member of the German team. We'll see him very likely chopping standing block or perhaps underhand at the World Championships.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Rolf Hasler getting into it really, really quickly on that first side. Switches over to that second side quite quickly as well. About 1 to 2 drivers ahead of Denny Vielwert on that second side. He's got a couple of sticky spots though, where his axe is just not moving out of the block as cleanly, and that's a perfect example. It takes about half a second to move that axe out of the block and becomes very tiring. He's got a 23.27 and Denny Vielwert with a 26.38. So neither one of these two guys cutting close to their personal best at this point. In particular, Denny Vielwert going well over his PB time of 19.80.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, so far so good in our underhand chop competition. No disqualifications at all, which is something that none of these athletes want to have, because a disqualification results in 0 points. Yeah, sure, if you get a slow time, you're not going to have the points you would like to have, but you can move on to the next discipline and try and improve there. But if you get a DQ, there are no points to be had whatsoever. And you could see here Rolf looking really good, but right there, massive stick again and again for him. That caused some slowdown. And for Denny, not really sure what happened there. He had a good first side. He was about 1-2 drivers behind Rolf on that second side, but just slowed down on the second side. So here we have the results for our underhand chop. And this is also, by the way, our current overall results in the competition, as this is our first discipline. And we'll get ready for our second discipline shortly. Christophe Geissler leading things so far. And it's not 16 points. My apologies, folks. It is 12 points for that top spot. I misspoke. It's 16 points in round 2. So you got to be careful as we move through this first round. The next discipline coming up is our stock saw, and you can see these guys at the bottom, Hofbauer, Hegele, Gnedinger, Wagesreiter, they need to put in a very, very solid and clean cut in our next discipline to make sure that they are really going to gain some of those important points they need to move up the ranking. They want to be among the top 8 in order to move on to round 2 after 3 disciplines in our first round. So it's still all wide open. There's plenty more to be had points-wise here. And guys like Lukas Wagesreiter can definitely make big improvements because stock saw is one of his stronger disciplines, and he can jump up the rankings a little bit with a very good time here. But like I said, we have 16 athletes here that are fantastic, that are well trained, well practiced, and they have that muscle memory down. So they really want to focus on making sure that they get the points that they need and are solidly ready to go for this next round. So the next discipline in round number 1 coming up is the stock saw. Now, the stock saw is an interesting one because it's not about the power that you have or the strength that you have. It's about knowing the machine. It's about feeling the vibrations of the machine in your hand. It's about being able to read how the machine is cutting through the wood. Push too hard, you can stall it. Not hard enough, and you're not cutting the wood. Let's take a look at the tool and discipline for stock saw.
Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, the STIHL MS661CM stock saw is used in STIHL Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. It produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cubic centimeters, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, they are fueled with STIHL MotoMix 100, and professional STIHL technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition.
Stock saw.
After the starting shot, the contestants have to cut 2 wooden discs, so-called cookies, within a 10-centimeter mark. 1 downward and 1 upward. The attempt is only valid when both discs have been cut off completely and within the marks.
Okay, so stock saw is up next, and Gunther Dahlinger will go up against Peter Bauer, Rolf Hasler, Marcel Steinkemper, Danny Martin, and Nils Müller will battle each other in this one. Danny very strong in this discipline. Severin Bühler also very strong here. Will be against Florian Hegeler, Christophe Geissler, and Lukas Wagerstreiter. I said Lukas, hey, he can do well in this one if he feels the saw well today. Danny Fehlwert, Armin Kugler, Thomas Hofbauer, Cyril Papst, and then we'll round out the heats with Olli Reinhardt and Pierman Gnadinger. And after that, we'll see how the rankings in stock saw affect the overall rankings. Our first heat coming up, heat number 1, Gunther Dahlinger against Peter Bauer. So there you can see the personal best for Gunther Dahlinger. Slightly better personal best for Peter Bauer. The season's best, folks, is something we should also point out, 8.83 seconds. So will we see a season's best cut today? There's always the possibility. And look at the bar on that saw. Celebrating 100 years of steel. It's going to be a huge celebration this year in October at the World Championships.
Athletes ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, good start by Gunther Dahlinger. Thin cookie starting things off. Peter Bauer. Oh, wow, that is paper thin. And the transition by Gunther Dahlinger and Peter Bauer, fantastic. But it's a clean cut by Peter Bauer, 11.98. And Gunther Dahlinger a little bit slower on the upcut with a 12.90. But man, oh man, that first cookie by Peter Bauer was paper thin. You could fold that and put it in a notebook.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Should point out the risk of having a very, very thin cookie is a cutout or an incomplete disc as it hits the deck. You want to make sure that you do have that thin cookie. Let's watch this again from Peter Bauer. No hesitation getting in there at all. Look at how close to the edge is, and that right there is a high-risk cut, but he managed it beautifully. Transition by both gentlemen was absolutely flawless. Beautiful upcut by Peter Bauer. Gunther was just a hair slower, and the time to beat right now is an 11.82. All right, Marcel, excellent sawyer. Rolf Hasler struggles a little bit, not his favorite discipline. We'll see. Maybe he's been training. And what we see quite a lot is guys who have disciplines that they don't like tend to focus on them a little bit more in their training. And we've seen that quite a lot with the springboard. So we're going to see improved times in the springboard this year across the board, and also in the stock saw.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, beautiful start again. Both of these guys getting into the wood without hesitation. That is a nice cookie for Marcel Steinkemper. Barely any wave on the transition. Oh, we got a cutout for Rolf Hasler, though. And that is a difference maker on the upcut. He's got to go back in, redo the cookie, and make sure he's got a complete cookie. But he had the wherewithal to make sure he's got a complete cookie. Should be good. And should he get 2 thumbs up, that will mean it's a slower cut, but at least he'll have points. Marcel Steinkemper sitting just behind Peter Bauer with a 12.40.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, so that's good. At least Rolf Geissler did not get the DQ for an incomplete cookie, but that was good thinking on his part. He noticed the cutout. He probably felt the saw release a little bit more and went back in for the upcut. Here's Marcel Steinkemper getting right into that wood. Now you can see there's a little bit of an angle. Rolf steps into it. At that point, not the best idea. And here on the upcut, you can see the bar just exits the wood. He saw it in time. He had to reposition it a couple of times. The first time he didn't have a good position. The second time was the cutout. And the third time was the proper positioning. But by that time, Marcel Steinkemper had his cut out all the way through the top and a complete cookie. But great job by Rolf Geissler to make sure that he has points on the board here. All right, next heat coming up, we have Danny Martin and Nils Müller. Danny Martin loves the motor saws. If it's the hot saw or the stock saw, it doesn't matter. He's real comfortable with those saws in hand, and you can see that's one of the reasons why he holds a national record for Germany for the stock saw with an 8.63. And that is a solid score. And the season's best, by the way, that is the fastest cut during the season, is an 8.83. So that personal best national record for Danny Martin was not achieved in this season, but a previous one. And we'll see how he does here today. Nils Müller on the other side on stand number 2 in this heat number 3 in the stock saw. We'll look for him to try and have a real solid cut here today at 10.38. It's pretty middle of the pack here for the skill level that these guys all have in the stock saw.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws.
And unlike the hot saw, this is a hot start. So the saw stays running on that plate that's on the ground there. So it's just a matter of picking up the saw and cutting. Here we go.
Your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
A little bit of a misgrab there by Danny Martin, but he got into the wood quickly. Let's see how this transition is here for Nils Müller. Oh, very big swing on the transition for Nils Müller. Danny Martin looking good as he's got an 11.60, 12.61 for Nils Müller. But did Nils cut over the line? It looks like it might have come close on the bottom. No, he's good. That blue line is the line up there. So it looks like he is fine. I thought he swung well over with the big, thick second cookie, but he is safe.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So at the moment, 4 German athletes sitting in the top 4 spots in stock saw. Danny Martin to top the rankings there with an 11.45. Then Peter Bauer, then Marcel Steinkemper, then Nils Müller, followed by Austria's Gunther Dahlinger and Switzerland's Rolf Geissler. And as we see, we're motoring through this discipline, no pun intended. And you can see a little bit of a slower upcut by Nils there. And that usually is a result of pulling maybe a bit too hard. I think perhaps Floaty spoke a little bit too soon about sunshine. And just for your heads up, folks, competitions that were happening and have happened in 2026. You can see all the video on demand up until the 29th of July, 29th of August. That would be today. DACH Pro Final from Schladming, live now with none other than me, Troy Mannering, and Floaty and the crew. 13th of September, we have the European Trophy coming from Poland. You can check that on the live stream. And then the 19th of September, the Australian Pro Championships. That will also be on live stream. And then the big one, the 30th and 31st of October, will celebrate the 100th anniversary of STIHL in Stuttgart during the Team World Championships. And then on the 31st of October, the Individual World Championship, also in Stuttgart, also 100 years, but also Halloween. So it's going to be a real fun night. So if you can't be there live, make sure you do tune in because it is going to be a lot of fun. Danny Martin currently atop the rankings with the 11.45, currently has those 12 points, but We're only a portion of the way through. Peter Bauer sitting in second place, then Marcel Steinkemper, then Niels Müller in fourth place, and Gunther Dahlinger rounding out the top 5 there in our live score on the right-hand side of your screen. 4 athletes from Germany in those top 4 positions, though, in stock saw, so let's see if Florian Hegele can join them among the top 5. But Severin Bühler, he is a quick cut with the stock saw, so let's see how we do here in heat number 4 between these two. Dan Janssen, a skilled sawyer himself, setting that block nice and flat so that the blocks can be marked. And there you see Bart Janssen giving that 10 centimeter marking where those 2 cuts have to happen in stock saw. And as you see, these guys will adjust their saws. They'll move it around. They'll do a finger check sometimes. They'll do a practice lift and place. And again, this all comes down to that muscle memory, that automation, so that they can grab onto that saw and just go straight into their cuts and not worry about anything other than the sound that the saw is making and the feeling of that saw vibrating in their hands to make sure that they know exactly what they're doing here. Florian Hegele, a lot of practice lift and places to make sure that he is really on point. Here we go. Time to race.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
2 very different positional styles. Severin Bühler, really wide stance. Oh, but that is a thin cookie. Whoa, Florian Hegele with a fat one. He's going to have problems on that upcut if he's not very careful. But he's got a good cut. Oh, and it's a beautiful second cookie for Hegele. And Severin got close to the line. Hopefully he didn't cut over it. But Bart Janssen's going to get in there right away. And look at that chocolate chip monstrosity that he cut out. Holy smokes, folks. That is a massive cookie and a headstand for Bart Janssen. And it looks like we may have a cut line, so he'll get a little bit of Andy Hall in there to reference that and make sure we're good. Crossing our fingers for Severin here.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, Florian Hegele, that first cookie was a monstrosity. And then his second cookie, unbelievably, was fantastically thin, and he needed it because that first cookie took up a lot of space. Let's take a look back at these cuts. Look at how big that thing is. Whew. That's a cheese board and a half right there. Meanwhile, Severin with a beautifully thin first cookie, but a massive transition over. And that was a lovely second cookie by Florian, but you could see that second cookie by Severin. Whoa, that came close to the line, and he had a couple of short breaths there as he waited for the final decision from Andy Hall at the decision zone. Okay, Christophe Geissler up against Lukas Wagereiter. Now, I mentioned that Lukas Wagereiter is pretty solid with the stock saw. He doesn't like this discipline much, but he can do it. And I expect him to have a personal best in this discipline because I know that he is one of those guys that takes a lot of pride in making sure that he is fit and ready for each and every one of these disciplines. Playing with the crowd, gotta like that.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good start. Nice thin cookie by Christophe Geissler. His aim is on. Lukas Wagestreit. Ooh, a big transition for him as he gets into that upcut. A lot of material to cut through and move out of the way there for Lukas, and that's a slow upcut for him. Unfortunately, not a personal best, a 14.77, and that's going to put him down near the bottom of the ranking thus far in stock saw, and that's an unfortunate cut for him because usually he's working hard to make sure he has got these locked down, but that upcut, not his day. Nice start there by Lukas. Good thin cookie, thin to win, as they say. Christophe Geissler, so much experience. He knows exactly how these saws work. Yeah, you can see Lukas, he wasn't feeling the upcut. He left a little bit too much material on the front there. He had a huge fat cookie, and the bigger that cookie is in front of the saw, the more it's going to bind on that chain. So you really have to have an excellent feeling in order to cut through there nice and fast. What a beautiful view in the background of the Bart Janssen or the BJ event stage that they've set up here in Schladming. Absolutely fantastic. Summer sports, winter sports, you name it. You can do it all in the Schladming-Dachstein area. All right. Next up, heat number 6 in stock saw, Denny Vielwert up against Armin Kugler. Personal best for Denny is not that far off the national record from Armin Kugler for Austria. Denny, a solid sawyer. Armin, always so serious on stage. Get that guy backstage and he is
okay, gentlemen.
Funny as all get
Warm
out.
up your saws.
Denny, one of the few athletes rocking the signature flat brim cap. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Very quick start from Denny. He got in there fast. Armin Kugler, very thin cut as well. He drops that cookie. Ooh, a little bit of a struggle on that transition to the upcut. Denny Vielwert is slower on the upcut. More material there. Good time from Armin Kugler, 12.88 and 13.55 for Denny Vielwert. Neither one of these two guys dropping a PB there, but let's see where they're sitting. Denny Vielwert in 10th place and Armin Kugler in 8th place. So not really great cuts for these guys today.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So Andy English Thumbs gives us the double butt for the two guys that were just on stage with 2 good cuts, as we'll take a look back here. So it was a good thin first cookie by Armin Kugler, but watch this transition at the bottom here. He kind of flubbed it a bit, looked for the lineup, but didn't get there. Denny Vielwert, on the other hand, had a really nice move into the transition. There you see from Armin's side again, but a little bit more cookie than he expected, I think. Not a bad size cookie, to be honest with you, but his upcut was just a little bit slower than Armin's.
Wo ich den Armin Kugler ein bisschen in die Zange nehmen kann, das erste Mal, weil der Josef an meiner Seite ist. Armin, nicht schlecht, aber noch nicht ganz dort, wo du wahrscheinlich sein möchtest heute.
Naja, beim Underhand habe ich halt ein bisschen gepatzt. Ich habe den ein bisschen verschätzt und nicht perfekt erwischt. Und ja, an der Stockser war halt jetzt ein Patzer beim Umsetzen. Im Schnitt habe ich mich eigentlich ganz wohl gefühlt, aber beim Umsetzen war leider ein ärgerlicher Patzer.
Josef, du
yeah, so in the underhand chop, he says that he was not really 100% there, miscalculated the block a little bit, and not really the best cut that he had in the stock saw either.
Das nimmt die halt einfach irrsinnig viel Zeit weg. Aber wie ist das im Schnitt selber gegangen?
Ja, im Schnitt habe ich mich sehr wohl gefühlt. Ich glaube, die Drehzahl habe ich gar nicht so schlecht erwischt. Das hat sich eigentlich ganz rund angefühlt. Aber einfach beim Umsetzen, keine Ahnung, war 1 Zentimeter zu weit vorn, bin leicht hängen geblieben. Und das kostet einmal, keine Ahnung, eine knappe Sekunde wahrscheinlich. Und das entscheidet halt bei der Stock so leider sehr, sehr viel.
So on the cut, he said he felt really good on the first cut, but then it was the transition to the upcut. He miscalculated the run-in a bit and had to reposition, and that cost him about a second and a half.
Aber im Publikum ist sicher noch einiges möglich. Das wird schon.
Yeah, and he says with the public, the audience here, anything is possible, so he's going to leave it wide open. And at the moment, in the overall standings, Armin Kugler is sitting in 7th place, so he's on the bubble at the moment. Needs to be careful with one more discipline for him still to come as we get ready for our last 2 heats, Heat 7 and Heat 8. Heat 7 will be Thomas Hofbauer going up against Cyril Papst. And then Heat 8, Olli Reinhardt and Pierman Gnedinger. Thomas Hofbauer, personal best of 9:16. He could be a little bit of a spoil sport for Danny Martin if he has a good cut here today. Cyril Papst as well, if he can stick with his personal best. But it seems like most everybody's been having a little bit of a slower cut in the stock saw. So that means the wood is cutting evenly and fair for all athletes here.
Athletes ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very nice start by both guys. Thomas Hofbauer looking like he's got a really clean first cut. Great transition by Cyril Papst. He's got a nice upcut in it. Thomas Hofbauer with a 12:01 moves himself in 4th place, just ahead of Cyril Papst, who's in 5th place with an 11:90. Thomas's time has immediately been changed to an 11:83. So he is right there among the top 4.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So there you see 4th place in stock saw. Cyril Papst 5th place in stock saw. Christophe Geissler, with his fast cut from earlier on, just moves behind Danny Martin, but he's got the overall lead in the overall standings as we take a look at this cut. Really nice style from Thomas Hofbauer. I like it. He steps in, barely any swing on the transition, and then he leans into that upcut a bit differently, and he has to steady himself on that block as he steps forward and takes a quick look at his time. All right, heat number 8 coming up. We have Olli Reinhardt and Pierman Gnedinger going against each other. Reinhardt, a sharp kid, speaks multiple languages, English, German, Polish among them. Pierman Gnedinger, as I mentioned, one of the great ambassadors of Swiss timber sports.
Warm up your saws.
There's a tough call between these two guys here. Both of them pretty evenly matched up. As I said earlier on in the show, it's about the points and about the time, so we're trying to get as fast as possible. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Pierman in quickly. Olli, very thin first cookie. Holy smokes, he's cutting quick. How's that transition looking? Oh, very nice transition from Pierman. Olli Reinhardt a bit slower on that upcut. Pierman Gnedinger with an 11.92. That puts him in 3rd place, just behind Christophe Geissler, and Olli Reinhardt with a 12.33 in 8th in the stock saw. So a solid run by both of these guys here, but a really nice cut by Pierman Gnedinger.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, right, so stage will be shifted to our next discipline, as that was our last heat in the stock saw. And you can see a very, very nice transition and upcut by Pirmin Gnediger, holding it steady, and Ollie Reinhardt not really that far off the mark there, but Danny Martin, fastest time in stock saw today, Christophe Geissler and Pirmin Gnediger second and third. So Danny Martin alone atop the ranking there with 12 points, but time-wise, these guys are all really close. Look at that, 11.45, 11.53, 11.78, 11.82, 11.83, and 11.90, 11.95 among the top 7 positions. And then it only jumps a couple of tenths of a second into 8th, 9th, and 10th. And we'll take a quick look here at the last 4 positions in stock saw, and then we'll have a quick look at what the overall rankings are giving us. And we should see a little bit of shifting around in the overall rankings here. Here we go. So the overall standings: Christophe Geissler atop the rankings with 23. Danny Martin moves up a spot to 20 with 1 point behind Geissler. Marcel Steinkemper, who was in second, drops down. Ollie Reinhardt holds steady at 4th. Peter Bauer moves up. Niels Müller moves down. And you can see Cyril Papst, Pirmin Gnediger, and Thomas Hofbauer all move up a spot. But important is positions 1 through 8 now that we're jumping into our next discipline, because remember, after this next discipline, we will be eliminating 8 athletes of our 16 and moving on to the next round with just 8 athletes. So that is going to be where the tension really starts to mount with the 3rd discipline in round 1, and that is the standing block chop. Now, these guys have to really put everything into this final discipline in round 1, because here's where they can gain some points. It's an interesting discipline for sure, because anything can really happen here, and it's a well-trained discipline for every single one of these guys, so they know exactly what they need to do for the standing block chop. On that note, let's take a look at the next discipline and the final run, or the final discipline in round 1. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 30 centimeters has to be cut through both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result. Okay, standing block chop lineups here. Lukas Wagesreiter up against Thomas Hofbauer. Lukas is in a little bit of trouble here. He is at the bottom of the rankings currently. He is not going to be liking that, but he's solid in standing, so maybe he can jump up a couple of notches, but he is going to have his work really, really cut out for him. Christophe Geissler will go up against Florian Hegeler, and then we will see Severin Bühler against Peter Bauer, Niels Müller, Pirmin Gnediger, Gunther Dahlinger, Denny Vielwert, Ollie Reinhardt, and Cyril Papst will go at it in Heat 6, and then Heat 7, Danny Martin, Rolf Hasler, Marcel Steinkemper, and Armin Kugler in Heat 7 and 8. So, standing block chop up next. And again, this one is an important final discipline in round 1 to try and accumulate as many points as possible. At the moment, Christophe Geissler, 23 points, only 1 point ahead of Danny Martin. Marcel Steinkemper with 15 points. Stock saw was not so strong for Marcel, but he did have a very strong underhand chop, getting second in that discipline. And our first heat coming up here with Lukas Wagesreiter and Thomas Hofbauer. Lucas coming out of the rookies in the 24-25 season. So he hasn't been a pro all that long, but he's shown flashes of brilliance. Just needs to make that step now.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
You can see the power both these guys are putting into it. Lucas really putting everything he's got into this. Thomas Hofbauer, nice clean cuts. Lucas, both of them switching over to that second side quickly. Lucas left himself a little bit of wood there that maybe could have chipped out with 1 or 2 more drivers. But I think he felt the pressure. Thomas Hofbauer coming close to it. And he's got himself a 23.09 PB. The wood is chopping well. And there's that extra wood that Lucas left on that one side that cost him a bit of time. But he's got himself a 36.4 PB. So that is great news for Lucas Wageschreiter.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, nice to see 2 personal best drop in this first heat. Great job by Lucas Wageschreiter to improve on his time. And yeah, very, very nice job. And you could see he was putting a lot into it. So, and I'll point out here, as he transitions to that second side, you could see right close to his left elbow there was a little bit of material left over, and that is, in my opinion, what caused him to be a little bit slower on that second side, having to clean that up as he got through from the second side. But nevertheless, a personal best for Lucas, so that is a good sign. So Christophe Geissler holding quite a few of the national records for Switzerland at 17.44, standing block chop national record. Florian Hegele, bit off that time with about 9 seconds difference to 26.78. So advantage here in this heat definitely goes to Christophe Geissler, but anything can happen, as you well know.
Okay, gentlemen.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice start. Oh, Florian Hegele quick over to that second side. Did he shortcut that first side? Christophe Geissler, that's got a lot of salad on that first side. Christophe got a bit of tight wood in there. Might be a slow one, and it could be a personal best here for Florian Hegele. It is 22.46. Christophe Geissler well off his personal best national record pace here. He's got it in 29.78, but that puts him at the 3rd place at the moment in standing block chop, and I don't think that's going to hold on for very long. That was not a very fast time for Christophe. Nearly 30 seconds, and that is almost double his previous time.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Nice job by Florian Hegele, though. 22.16 in a personal best. Christophe Geissler struggling a bit on that second side. Took him a little bit longer to get over there as well. We'll take a look back here at the replay. Florian currently holding the fastest time and the time to beat in standing block chop. Yeah, a few sticky axes. These guys have a quiver of axes they get to choose from, and sometimes the test blocks will give them good chips on one axe and not on the other, and then when they actually get out to the wood they're cutting on, the axe they chose on the test blocks is not necessarily the correct one. All right, so Christophe Geissler will for sure be disappointed with that run here, and that's going to cause him a bit of problem in the overall standings, as Floaty plays with the audience a little bit.
Das ist jetzt die Möglichkeit, hier eine Flagge zu holen. Ganz besonderes Stück, nehmen wir gerne entgegen. Und wenn ihr eine haben solltet, dann einfach einmal auch die Flagge hier schön waven, wie es so schön heißt, wave your flag. Das wird man ganz gerne auch für alle zu Hause mitnehmen.
You can see the beehive of activity there as the kids and families trying to get the flags that Floaty is pawning off on the audience, as well as all the action on stage. If you're just joining us, I mentioned to our audience earlier on that the athletes are responsible for setting the blocks that they have received through lottery into the stands on the positions of the stage where they will be competing, so they can't come back later on and protest that somebody put the block in incorrectly or didn't put the dogs that hold the block in place in strongly enough and had it moving around. It is up to the athlete to take care of all of that business on their own.
Im STIHL Timbersports Fieber. Wen werden wir denn morgen sehen bei den Rookies und den Damen? Ja, das sehe ich schon.
So coming up to standing block heats 3 and 4 as our stage is ready to go, and our next pairing of athletes will come out onto stage here. That's going to be Severin Bühler up against Peter Bauer in heat number 3. You'll see Severin Bühler on stand position number 1 and Peter Bauer on stand position number 3.
Und wer glaubt an einen österreichischen Athleten? Schweiz? Deutschland, Österreich. Na gut, einmal frage ich noch. Schweiz, Deutschland, Österreich. Da ist noch alles möglich. Josef.
Good mix of people from all 3 nations competing here, so you could tell that when Floaty trying to get Germany, Switzerland, and Austria all kind of making noise, it was pretty balanced out between all 3 nations, and they'll get a chance to cheer for Switzerland and Germany here, with Severin Bühler from Switzerland going up against Peter Bauer of Germany. Look how close those times are, 22.72 and a 22.96. Severin with his backup axe set up against the block there just in case. We have seen it where an axe handle did break off. Emil Hansen, in fact, at a World Championships a few years ago, broke his axe at the handle and had to remove the head and continue cutting with his backup axe. So this is the reason why we have the athletes come out on the stage with 2 axes.
Athletes ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, both guys giving it some big, heavy drivers here. Peter Bauer going in a bit short on that first side, maybe short-cutting it a little bit, some straight cuts in, not really chipping the material out. You can see his axe only created a line but didn't really take any material out. Severin Bühler looking good here. Peter Bauer, however, regardless of those short cuts in, with a 21.94 and improving his time once again. Severin Bühler with a 26.36, and Peter Bauer, his time's been adjusted briefly to 21.64. That will stand as official, and that means he's got currently the fastest time in the books.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So the woodchucks coming out onto stage to see how much wood a woodchuck could chuck if they could chuck wood. And we'll take a look back here. Peter Bauer, wow, nice chip that just went flying away. Now watch closely here. His angle on the upcut, well, we didn't get to see it unfortunately, but his angle on the upcut is fairly flat. His downcuts are fantastic, but you know, it seems to have worked for him. And there is that last driver, and pushes off that block from the top. Another angle from it, nice final cut, and a personal best for Peter Bauer. So thus far, 6 athletes and 4 personal bests. That's a good sign for the wood here in standing block. All right, heat number 4, Nils Müller up against Pirmin Gnedinger. I love Pierman Gnadinger's picture. It looks like that awkward Christmas picture that your parents want you to take just before you go out for dinner. Everybody looks so nice. Smile for the camera. He's such a good guy, though. It's unbelievable. All right,
Okay,
here we go.
gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, very, very nice start by Niels Müller. Those angles are just fantastic. Pierman looking good as well. That block is wiggling a little bit, though. Hopefully he got that in tight enough as he switches over to the other side. Niels Müller on that other side as well. They're pretty even as they switched over. Now, Pierman's got a bit of a problem block there that it's moving quite a bit, though, and that means it's going to be stealing power from him. But he's got it down. And 27.23, and Niels Müller, one more driver behind him, and a 28.74. So Severin just ahead of Pierman Gnadinger with a 26.36, but the two Swiss men were very close. Pierman with a 27.29, and Niels Müller a hair behind with a 28.43.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So taking a look back here, we had a lovely start from both guys. Some big chips flying away from those blocks, but you can see the amount of power they're putting into their drivers. And that whole stand is moving. And what happens is when that moves like that, each driver, the block absorbs a little bit of that power and steals a little bit of that time away. But it was a good cut through nevertheless by Pierman, and Niels a bit of a sticky axe right there, but that final driver, one driver behind, really 1.5. And yeah, you can see it was just really one driver actually. It was one complete driver for Niels behind Pierman. Those two guys are real close together here.
Den Eindruck, dass hier in Schladming alle begeistert sind, dass STIHL Timbersports ja wie ein Fieber um sich gegriffen hat. Und eine ganz, ganz große Geschichte steht ja dieses Jahr noch an, wir haben es vorher schon erwähnt, die STIHL Timbersports World Championship, ein Jubiläumsjahr.
So Floti's just mentioning that he has the impression that the people here in Schladming are very excited about timber sports, and he's asking about what's coming up in October in the World Championships.
Mal bei der WM, und das ist einfach so ein Hexenkessel. Da ist in der Mitte die Bühne, rundum ist das Publikum, da ist Stimmung, da ist Wirbel und da ist einfach so Energie drin, das wird wirklich, wirklich geil.
So it's he's talking about how the vibe at the World Championships is so cool, and how the stage is in the middle and the audience is all the way around, and we're going to get a quick look at what we can expect at the World Championships.
Really good memories of Stuttgart. Like, what a beautiful city.
I have never been in front of this big crowd.
There was going to be 6,500 people in Porsche Arena.
Everybody's going to be on their game.
Definitely my favorite arena.
Probably going to be unlike anything I've been competing in front of before.
So Stuttgart is going to be an absolute party this year. I mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. The 100-year anniversary of STIHL. Last year, we celebrated 40 years of STIHL Timbersports. This year, we're celebrating 100 years of STIHL as a company. And, of course, October 30th and 31st, that celebration is going to come to a head with the STIHL Timbersports Individual and Team World Championships. It should be a ton of fun. Okay, moving on to heat number 5 here. We have Gunther Dallinger going up against Denny Vielwärts. Denny slightly advantageous on the standing block chop. Gunther just a hair slower with a 24.10 PB. Denny's 23.38 PB. But again, we've seen many things. Christophe Geissler being the perfect example, a guy who holds a national record with 18 and change, almost doubling the time that he needed to cut through the standing block chop. So as always, you have to think that anything can and will happen in these disciplines. You're dealing with a natural product, of course, the wood. They are as fair as can be set when they come to competition wood. Maybe we'll get to look at that a little bit later on in the show here today. But it is a natural product, so you never really know what's inside that wood until you start cutting away the outer layers.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Wow. Gunther Dahlinger throwing some wood into the air with those first couple of drivers. Denny Fielwert looking pretty good as well, taking his time on that first side. Shortcutted a bit, and Gunther Dahlinger on that second side putting a lot into those drivers. He's coming close to it. Will we have a fast time from Gunther Dahlinger? He's looking for a line through. It's just not happening for him, and Denny Fielwert managed to do it in a 22.68 personal best, and Gunther Dahlinger left a little bit too much to chance on that first side, went around quick, but he had too much wood to cut through and was trying to find that line, and it just was holding on for dear life with some tight wood.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So once again, we're looking at the top 4 positions in the standing block chop. Peter Bauer, Florian Hegeler, Denny Fielwert with that personal best slips into 3rd place, and Thomas Hofbauer, all Germans at the top of the rankings for the moment. And even Denny probably could have sped up a little bit there. He had 1 or 2 sticky axes on that first side, and we saw it was just a little bit too quick to that second side by Gunther Dahlinger. Similar thing that we saw with Lucas earlier on. And he was trying to find that line through. Struggled a little bit to find it. Finally had the power to get through there. But that was a really nice final driver from Denny for 3rd place at the moment. All right, heat number 6 coming up. Ollie Reinhardt and Cyril Paps. Not a lot of guys have times here in standing block chop under 20 seconds, and Ollie Reinhardt is one of them. More often than not, you see Ollie in that final position during the team competition on the standing. A 19:04 is an excellent time. Many of the athletes today opting for the chisel shape on their axes. Not a lot of banana blades out there today.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good start. Bit of a sticky one for Cyril. Ollie got pace in there though. Cyril, good flow here as he's moving forwards and back on that. Nice 8-cut front side. Switches to that second side. And Ollie Reinhardt looking for his way through there. He's not going to have a personal best. One more driver going to do it. Oh my goodness, Ollie 22.43 and Cyril with a 22.31. You can see that came off ever so slightly, but there was a thread holding onto it. And look at Cyril celebrating that one. Oh my goodness. They both knew that those were scary last drivers with that block, holding on for dear life as they wanted to get it off. And you can see that reaction from Ollie. He swung through, the thing was hanging on.
Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
And he stepped back from the block with paper plate eyes and had to go back in and do one more driver to get it off the top. We'll get one more look at that, hopefully. What a great run between these two Swiss guys, though. Cyril with a little bit of a sticky one off the start. Ollie with pace off the start. Moves to that second side ahead of Cyril. Pops by about 2-3 drivers. And then on the second side, Ollie nice and clean throughout, more or less. A little bit of salad on that first side, but the second side there, the swing through, and then that paper plate eye, and he looks up there and he's like, ah, man, he knew he had a good cut up until that point, and that was the difference between 1 and 2 seconds difference there. So, yeah, you can see these two guys celebrating what a bit of a strange cut was.
Juliana Einfalt, du bist ja eine, die hier bei diesen Dachwettkämpfen richtig abgerockt hat letztes Jahr. Du hast dir den Titel geholt. Du bist morgen natürlich auch wieder am Start. Wenn du jetzt so ein bisschen die Atmosphäre aufsaugst, was ist so dein erstes Fazit? Also wie taugt es so bis jetzt?
Voll super, aber das Zuschauen macht mich mehr nervös, als wir machen mein eigener Bewerb.
Juliana Einfalt talking about watching it is making her more nervous than actually competing in the competition, which she'll be competing in tomorrow.
Was ist so das Schlimme, was jetzt in diesen ersten Bewerben für dich war? Weil ich merke es, nach beim eigenen Wettkampf bist du eigentlich nie nervös. Aber jetzt spürt man schon ein bisschen diese Anspannung, oder?
Ja, einfach das Mitfiebern, dass das alles passt, was machen, wir es machen, dass wir einfach schnell durchkommen, dass sie keine Q nicht haben.
They're talking about how the celebrating with the athletes and wanting to help them with each of their drivers makes her more nervous than actually competing herself, and that's an interesting thing of sitting in the audience and being part of the audience instead of actually competing.
Man teilt den Spaß etwas und geht früh schlafen.
Klingt vernünftig. Josef, möchtest du noch irgendwas anfügen an dieser Stelle? Ich bin raus.
Also als Mensch, der was mit der Juliana schon viel trainiert hat, würde mich interessieren, auf welche Disziplin freust du dich am meisten für morgen?
Josef asking what discipline is going to be the one that she's looking forward to the most tomorrow.
Vielen Dank, Juliana. Wir freuen uns auf morgen. Nicht verpassen, da geht es dann um 11 Uhr los. Da heißt es den Titel verteidigen. Wir drücken da jetzt schon ganz fest die Daumen. Die Konkurrenz schläft.
She did say earlier on, get ready, go to bed early and wake up early for the competition and be ready. It will start tomorrow morning at 11. Josef Laya, a teammate of Juliana Einfalt in Austria. So, yeah, there's going to be good competition for the women tomorrow, as well as we are down to our last two heats, heats 7 and 8 in standing block chop. And Danny Martin up against Rolf Hasler. Danny Martin, another one of those guys with a time under 20 seconds in the standing block chop. So we haven't seen too many really big jumps in speed here on standing block chop. So far, we've had 5 personal bests from Peter Bauer, Florian Hegele, Denny Vielwert, Thomas Hofbauer, and Lukas Wagersreiter. So let's see if we get a good heat between these two gentlemen, Danny Martin and Rolf Hasler. Danny Martin in block position 1, Rolf Hasler in block position 3. As I mentioned, that Danny has been taking special care to make sure that his fitness is on point. You got to be fit as a fireman as well, but also making sure that he really trains to make sure that he has that muscle memory for all the activities that he has to do today.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So both these guys giving it their all here. Danny Martin still on that first side. Rolf Hasler quick to that second side. Danny going a bit deeper on that first side, and that could bode well for a fast time for him on that second side. Rolf Hasler left a little bit more material on that first side, but it seems to be working well for him as it's wiggling and waggling. And it goes off the top at 23.15. Danny Martin with a 24.46. Standing block chop, he's sitting in 8th place in this discipline. Not his strongest performance on the standing, but Rolf Hasler with a really, really nice time just ahead of Danny Martin in 7th place. But that moves Danny Martin into the top spot overall just ahead of Peter Bauer with one more heat to go. That's heat number 8 with Marcel Steinkemper and Armin Kugler.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So through and through, generally speaking, most of the cuts have been slower on the standing block chop. Slower than personal bests, I mean. Rolf Hasler, really, really nice start. I was actually quite surprised here. It seemed to me like he shortcut that first side. He was well onto that second side. Danny Martin took about 3 or 4 more drivers on that first side before he shifted over. And, I thought, yeah, go a bit deep there. Not the worst idea in the world. Less material on that second side to cut through. But Rolf Hasler, man, the power he drew into that block was just incredible. There's that last driver from him, and then one more from Danny Martin. So Rolf Hasler, a hair faster than Danny. Nice run there by both of these guys, and we have one more heat to go. So Marcel Steinkemper and Armin Kugler, another couple of guys with under 22nd personal best times. Armin Kugler, the only other guy that's under 19 seconds other than Christophe Geissler. Armin with an 18.30. So Armin has a chance here to make up some time here. At the moment, he's only got 7 points in the competition, so this could be a big deal for him. If he can get a full pole 12 points in this one, then he could move up into the top 8, and he needs to be up there.
3, 2, 1, go!
Armin Kugler getting into it, looking pretty relaxed actually. I mean, the face belies a little bit of stress, but shortcut that first side, switch to the second side. Marcel Steinkemper looking very good here. Clean hits, nice pace. Armin trying to get in there. Oh my goodness, a great time by Steinkemper. Fastest time so far with a 20:23. Armin trying to find his line through there, and it's hard. He's got some tight wood, and a 32:34. 16th place in the standing block chop. That is an unusual situation for Armin, and it's the first time in a long time we've seen him down that low in the standings, and it looks like we may not see Armin in the next round.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Wow, an adjustment for Marcel Steinkemper, a 19.94, the fastest time of the day in standing block chop, and that puts him atop the standing block chop rankings with a really lovely cut. Here's Armin looking good on that first side, chipping out nicely. His start looked quite relaxed to me, but then he started to tighten up on that axe, switching over to the second side. 2 drivers behind Steinkemper here. Steinkemper, good pace and really nice cuts, and look at that look on his face after their relief. And Armin trying to find the line through. It took him about 5 or 6 drivers to get there. Finally did it, but you could see the disappointment on his face after that standing block. So standing block chop right now led by 2 Germans, Marcel Steinkemper and Peter Bauer. Cyril Paps from Switzerland sitting in 3rd place, and then Florian Hegele from Germany in 4th place, in 3rd place for Cyril Pabst. Olli Reinhard with a solid 22.20 in 5th place. And you can see the list as we go down. Then we have Denny Vielwert, Thomas Hofbauer, Rolf Hasler, Danny Martin, Günther Dahlinger, Severin Bühler, Pierman Gnedinger. And then in the bottom list here, Nils Müller, Christophe Geissler, Lukas Wagersreiter, and Armin Kugler. It's strange to see Christophe and Armin down that low on the list. All right, let's see how this shifts things around in the overall. So Marcel Steinkemper has the top spot in the overall with 27 points. Danny Martin right behind him with 26. 2 points back from Danny is Peter Bauer, and that means those 3 guys right now leading the charge. Christophe Geissler is in the mix, though, in 4th place. Olli Reinhard in 5th. Cyril Paps in 6th. Florian Hegele and Thomas Hofbauer round out the top 8, and that means we will lose Nils Müller, Pierman Gnedinger, Günther Dahlinger, Rolf Hasler, Denny Vielwert, Armin Kugler, and Severin Bühler, and Lukas Wagersreiter from the competition as we move to round 2. And we'll start off round 2 with our single buck. We have a quick interview there with our leader in the standing.
Der Führende. Nicht nur der Gewinner der letzten Disziplin, ja, hat sich einen riesen Applaus verdient. Ganz starke Leistung, ganz fokussiert, richtig cool. Ja, ich sehe sie. Das zaubert ihm ein Lächeln ins Gesicht und das hochverdient. Läuft heute, oder?
Ja, ist natürlich schön, wenn das funktioniert, was man sich vorgenommen hat. Und gerade auch jetzt im Standing hat man gesehen, dass ein paar Leute vielleicht sich ein bisschen verschätzt haben. Und dann habe ich jetzt gedacht, mach einfach was Sicheres und versucht damit vorne zu sein, weil manchmal ist es, wenn man was macht, was man kann und versucht sicher zu sein, dann ist man meist schneller.
Marcel says it's nice to have things go the way you imagine them, and Safe was to get himself as fast as the time possible and be in the lead, and that's exactly what he did.
Da geht es heute dann noch richtig zur Sache. Ihr kennt euch ja alle sehr gut, ihr seid ja auch ein richtig starkes, gemeinsam kämpfendes Team, aber das muss sich doch einfach richtig gut anfühlen.
Ja, das ist auf jeden Fall schon mal gut, so hat man ein bisschen Vorsprung. Jetzt kommen ja ein paar Disziplinen, die Danny auf jeden Fall wesentlich besser liegen noch als mir, und ja, jetzt versuche ich da einfach gut durchzukommen und dann hoffentlich schaffe ich es in der letzten Runde.
So he says, yeah, there's the next round here. Danny's got a couple of disciplines that are a little bit stronger than his own, and hopefully he can move on to that next round safely and be in the stocks or in the hot sauce. So there we go. Marcel Steinkemper, your leader at the moment with 27 points in the overall standings. And now we move on to the single buck, and here's the tool and discipline.
The 2-meter long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into two types, cutters and rakers, just like on the old school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos and its base price starts at around 1,500 euros. Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc of a 46-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success.
Okay, excuse me, 8 athletes left in the competition here, and we are looking at Thomas Hofbauer, Florian Hegele in heat number 1, Cyril Papsoli Reinhardt in heat number 2, Christophe Geissler, Peter Bauer in heat 3, and in heat 4, Danny Martin and Marcel Steinkemper are 2 leaders. Holy moly. Another name that many of our athletes refer to the single buck or the single saw as the misery whip. And we may see why they call it a misery whip during the competition here today if that decides to play against the movement of the operator, but it remains to be seen. We have a couple of very, very excellent operators here getting ready to go. Florian Hegele, a fantastic single sawyer. Thomas Hofbauer, not his strength as you can see from his time, but those things will improve as time goes by for sure. Florian Hegele with a 12.99. And you can see the world record and season's best just underneath heat number 1 there. Those times are also incredibly fast. So anything can happen. You never know. We might see a world record today. One can hope. One can hope. I should point out that only 1 point differentiates the top spot for Marcel Steinkemper and position number 2 for Danny Martin, and 2 points between Danny Martin and Peter Bauer, so 27 to 26 and 26 to 24. And at the moment, it is German athletes in those top 3 positions.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, critical here is to get that saw moving and keep it moving. Now, there are different styles of cutting, and you can see here, Thomas Hofbauer, a bit short on the cuts. Florian Hegele also the same, but his cuts are quick, and that's a good time. 15.23 for Florian Hegele. And Thomas Hofbauer, an 18.31 to the bottom of that cut. So again, no personal best times going away here in that single saw, but we have our first times in the books. Florian Hegele with a 15.01 and Thomas Hofbauer with an 18.06.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, next saws will be brought onto stage and set up as we take a look back here. And again, talking about different styles, you can see Florian, shorter cuts, not using the entire length of the saw, but a quick pace, and that obviously worked for him. Thomas Hofbauer, similar as well. You can see the tip of the saw disappear into the wood, but he doesn't use the entire length of the saw, and we're not seeing knuckles go up to the wood there on those cut throughs on the longwood in the middle. All right. Next heat we have Cyril Papst and Olli Reinhardt, a couple of excellent single sawyers, and you can see evenly matched up as far as their times are concerned as well. Thomas?
Absolut, ja, das ist so, wir Sägen produzieren, sitzen Australien, Neuseeland und in Amerika. Die neuseeländische Firma hat dann auch gehört, die Sägen zu feilen, weil es anstrengend ist, eben eine Woche, tagelang beim Gerät zu sitzen und zu feilen. Und somit hat es ja ähnlich, das produzieren.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Back to each other. And you can see right away Cyril Papst and Olli using the entire length of the saw. Olli Oxenfree as he goes shortcut and fast pace as he's getting quick to the bottom of that cut, slowing down a little bit. Oh, and he's got a personal best 13.49, and he is happy about that. Cyril Papst with a 15.90, and Olli Reinhardt moves to the top of the single buck rankings there. He's happy about that cut. Can also see both of these guys are using
congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Spiked shoes to provide a little bit more grip on the floor up there. And those two guys enjoying another moment on stage after their standing block chop fun. You can see here, there's quite a different style by Olli Reinhardt. You know, he goes for quick start, gets a little bit longer through the middle, and usually paces up towards the bottom, but this time he slowed down slightly, and nevertheless, it's a bit of a scary situation, because if Olli can keep that saw moving quickly to the bottom, he is going to cut another couple of seconds off his time, and that's what makes him such a scary competitor, because he did get himself a personal best here. So a very nice run as we set up for heat number 3 between Christophe Geissler and Peter Bauer. And again, Christophe Geissler holding the national record for Switzerland in this discipline. This guy has got them all covered. It's unbelievable. In the previous competition in Italy, we saw an athlete actually use a magnetic level on the side of the saw to make sure that it was straight up and down, so there was no angle at all. Not the worst idea in the world, but a lot of these guys like Peter Bauer and Christophe Geissler, they've got such a good eye that they can see just alone setting it in position that it's sitting correctly. So That's experience right there for you, and two very experienced guys.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
So keep an eye on how Christophe Geissler gets this saw going, and you can see right away he's using the entire length of the saw. Now Peter Bauer doing very much the same, but with some pace. So you've got two different types of styles here, two different types of efficiency, and very, very close times, 14.22 and a 14.11. Ollie Reinhardt still holding that top time with a personal best 13.22, but Peter Bauer slips in right behind Oliver Reinhardt with a 13.86 now adjusted, and Christophe Geissler with a 14.03. And Christophe Geissler needed that time and those points. Absolutely. What a nice run from both those guys. So it is 1, 2, and 3. Ollie Reinhardt, Peter Bauer, and Christophe Geissler respectively.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So Peter Bauer, you can see he gets right into it, leaning on that back foot, pushing through, twisting his torso, and using the full length of that saw. Tip disappears. He knuckles it up. Same thing with Christophe Geissler. So much experience in play here. Nice clean cuts all the way to the bottom. And man, that was so close. Peter Bauer, a hair faster, but only a hair. And that is a thin hair as well. And Peter happy with that time, absolutely. Okay, last heat here in the single buck. No misery whip so far today. It's been a good set of runs for all of these guys. And again, talking about how fantastic the level is for each of the athletes on stage is incredible. Danny Martin and Marcel Steinkemper, the two guys that are atop the leaderboard. Danny Martin in second place, Marcel Steinkemper in first place. Danny Martin, tail of the tape. Definitely faster on single saw, but Marcel Steinkemper, motivated by being in the first place position leading into round number 2 in this first discipline, may well have that adrenaline and motivation on his side for sure. Quick check by Andrew Hall to make sure that saw is sitting at the correct depth. Final cheeky adjustments by Marcel Steinkemper. Danny Martin is ready to go.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Quick pace by Marcel Steinkemper. He's not bothering with any kind of particular style here. Just fast cut to the bottom. It's a good cut by Danny Martin and a good cut by Marcel Steinkemper. Danny Martin a little bit faster. Marcel Steinkemper with the third fastest time. Danny Martin with the fastest time with 11.90. A fantastic cut. Ollie Reinhardt gets shifted down to second place. Marcel Steinkemper pushes everybody else down as he moves into third place, and Danny Martin will take over the top spot in the overall rankings with that.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
And Marcel actually knocks down a personal best as well. So only two guys rocking the personal best here today, and that is Marcel and Ollie Reinhardt. Great job by both of them to show improvement on that single saw. And Danny Martin will take over that top spot again. And you can see Marcel opting to try and go for a fast pace, but not using the entire length of the saw. Danny Martin, similar in a way, but he uses a little bit more of the saw. You can see there the saw tends to disappear into the wood, the tip of the saw, and he's going right to his knuckles. But that was a really nice run. And I mean, Marcel pushed Danny all the way, and Danny pushed Marcel all the way. So it was a really nice way to end this competition in single buck. And we see Danny Martin atop the single buck leaderboard. Ollie Reinhardt with a great run sits in second place. That should mean he moves up in the overall rankings from 4th to 3rd. And Marcel Steinkemper will be pushed down to second place in the overall with a 3rd position here in single buck. And we'll take a look at the overall rankings just in a second as we get ready for our springboard. So here we go. Overall, yep, Danny Martin, Marcel Steinkemper moving down, so he is 3 points behind, and Ollie Reinhardt just 3 points behind Marcel Steinkemper in 3rd place. Peter Bauer in 4th, then Christophe Geissler, Cyril Papst, Florian Hegele, and Thomas Hofbauer. One more discipline to go in round 2, and that's the springboard. But the springboard takes quite some time to set up. So we're going to go to the stage and a quick interview with Danny Martin here.
Es ist immer herrlich, mit ihm ein Gespräch zu führen, denn er ist irgendwie happy, aber er weiß, es ging vielleicht sogar noch mehr. Das war jetzt die schnellste europäische Zeit in dieser Disziplin.
Ja, das habe ich dir gerade gesagt. Also man kennt ja das Ranking und ja, ich denke, es ist ganz gut. Aber du hast ja schon gehört, dass ich nicht ganz zufrieden bin, weil es ganz nah am deutschen Rekord nicht ist. Aber du wirst jetzt lachen und vielleicht werden es mir viele nicht glauben, aber ich habe zu mir gesprochen und habe gesagt, bau heute keinen Scheiß hier. Ich habe die Zeit nämlich vorher gesehen und 13 unterbieten ist vielleicht sicherer, um den Wettkampf heute zu gewinnen und das war mein Plan gewesen. Ja, jetzt ärgere mich nur ein bisschen, weil es so knapp war, aber ich bin happy.
Es wäre möglicherweise...
All right, so Danny is talking about, you know, wanting to have that German record and he came close and he said, you know, don't do anything stupid, just get a good cut, and you know, he aimed for it and he got there, and that's exactly what he did. So he managed to pull off the fastest time in single saw.
Aber auch da kann immer was passieren. Springboard, das ist so ein Ding, wo viele sagen, da gibt es auch eine gewisse Hassliebe. Wie ist es bei dir?
Ich liebe es immer mehr in letzter Zeit, muss ich sagen. Ich freue mich jetzt drauf. Ich hoffe, dass mein Log ganz gut ist. Mein Block, glaube ich, ist ganz gut. Es geht nur ein bisschen immer um Holzglück. Hat am Standing gesehen. Armin, Christoph, meine Wenigkeit, wo man echt viele Punkte verloren hat. Wo das Holzglück nicht auf unserer Seite war. Bei der Säge deswegen natürlich viel einfacher, weil es ein Block ist, man hintereinander wegschneidet. Aber den guten Athlet zeigt aus, dass er trotzdem nicht aufgibt und irgendwie den Anschluss weiter behält. Und das habe ich gezeigt, denke ich. Und ja, das hoffe ich, geht so weiter.
The question was, there's a love-hate relationship with the next discipline coming up for springboard, and Danny mentioned that in the meantime he's learned to love it as he's gotten better, and you know, he could see that you know, guys like Christophe were a little bit faster than the standing block, and that's really what the standing block is on the top of the second springboard. So he just hopes that his pockets are in good positions and he get up there quickly and cut that top block safely.
Eigentlich bist du schon zu alt, Danny, aber er sieht so viel Verbesserungspotenzial in mir und das hast du ja gerade richtig erkannt. In den letzten 1,5 Jahren ist wirklich vieles vorangegangen. Die Physio-Einheiten und so, da kriegt man dann am Tag 2-3 Stunden Physio-Einheiten, wo dann der Körper wieder auf Null gebracht wird. Trainingseinheiten, made in hell, man geht durch die Hölle. Und wenn man das übersteht, dann kann man hier auf dem Wettkampf, denke ich, ganz gut bestehen. Und das hilft mir sehr. Ich danke, also ich kann wirklich nur Danke sagen, was ich da bekomme, den Support. Und ja, ich hoffe, es geht weiter.
So he's been told that maybe he's a little bit too old for this, but he continues to go to physio and training to make sure that everything is good and basically going back to zero. And he's thankful for all the help that he gets through this. And looks like our stage might be close to being ready. So perhaps we can take a quick look at the premium competition wood, which I mentioned earlier on.
It's an international extreme sports competition series featuring 6 disciplines: 3 chopping and 3 sawing. We have a premier competition, we need premier wood. The biggest challenges that I face as part of my role is to ensure that our competitions are supplied with the highest quality wood.
Since when is spike milled in Dutch?
Each individual tree is exempt for its conformation before processing. We need to make it fair for all athletes. So we are selecting different sections of the trees to use for each of our specific disciplines.
Once the trees are felled, extracted and transported to our facilities, we measure, mark and then cut the wood into sized blocks. We then peel the blocks ready for competition. After After careful selection, the blocks then leave our yard and are distributed internationally to our STIHL TIMBERSPORTS competitions.
Video am großen Bildschirm, jetzt steht er schon live neben mir. Bart, das Holzthema ist ja immer ein ganz, ganz großes.
So the guys are talking about the wood and you know, a lot of people asking about what happens with the wood, and you know, there's so much wood being used and how it gets used at the end of the day. Bart Jansen, of course, is responsible for a lot of the wood that we're seeing here, if not all of it, in the European market. Through his company BJ Events, and they do have a specific thing where they take care of sustainable wood management, and we'll get a clip of that shortly. But
Timber, und das ist Holz. Beim Skispringen ist es der Wind und der Schnee.
And he's talking about how the wood is a natural product. You know, by ski jumping, it's the wind. And with timber sports, it's the wood.
Ja, wir geben Gas hier in Schladming.
And you can hear the noise in the background of the saws and all the work going on stage to set up the stage, which is an absolute hub of activity.
Ich habe aber Unterschiede gesehen, härtere und weichere Blöcke. Und der Sportler sieht das auch. Das Holz wird verlost. Der liest dann Block.
Talking about the wood and how it's distributed to the athletes through a lottery system, but Bart himself has seen some harder and softer wood, and the athletes have seen that as well, and that's just the way it is with a natural product. These guys have to deal with the same things each and every time they get out there on stage, but they do their best to make sure they got good competition wood and fair wood every time they get on stage.
Einigermaßen gleiche Bedingungen, aber 100% mit einem Naturprodukt ist nicht möglich.
Das ist ja genau der Punkt, es ist ein Naturprodukt, aber trotzdem hört man immer wieder auch Backstage, also nicht nur für die Kamera oder für die Bühne, dass alle sagen, die Entwicklung der letzten Jahre war unglaublich und dass die Wettkämpfe viel, viel gerechter sind als früher.
A lot of talk backstage about how the development in the competition wood has been unbelievable in the last years. So the question is, how do you get it so it's close to even at the end?
Es ist jetzt noch immer sehr schwierig. Es ist auch nicht ganz zu sagen, wie das genau funktioniert. Es ist
ein bisschen ein Geheimnis.
It's difficult, he says, it's difficult every time, and it's still, you know, from the very beginning it's difficult, and it's still difficult to make sure that the competition wood is fair every single time, but they do so many things to test the wood to make sure that when they do cut it and prepare it for the competition, that that wood comes from, you know, the same trees or the same blocks, that each and every block is as fair as possible, and trying to keep clear of any branches that may have been there which create knots in the wood.
Das Hackholz ist so weich, wenn man dann diese Gerbe reinmacht und es bohrt, dann bricht es aus. Also dann haben wir eine Nummer härter. Die Pine, was wir gerade gesehen haben, das Singleböck, die kommt aus der Schweiz und das Hotsaw und Stocksaw-Holz kommt aus Belgien und Niederlande.
So the pine wood that they use for the single saw was from Switzerland, and the wood that they're using for the stock saw and hot saw is coming from Netherlands.
Holz, das sich selber aussucht, wird da gelost. Wie funktioniert das?
Also es fängt an, wir produzieren 4000 Blöcke.
Moment, wie viele?
4000 Blöcke produzieren.
So they produce 4,000 blocks, and then they're matched per event and numbered.
Möglich gleiche Blöcke zusammenzustellen für die Wettkämpfe.
And they want to have as many of the same blocks together as possible, and then they're marked, and then they're basically through a lottery system given to the athletes, so the athletes choose a number, and that number is what they have to cut.
Ist der Sportler nicht zufrieden mit dem Block, dass denkt, ist unhackbar,
If the athlete's not happy with the block,
darf nie zurücktauschen.
And
Ja,
unfortunately,
das sind alles
can't
Dinge,
change it back.
die man erstmal wissen muss, aber ganz, ganz wichtig sind, vor allem für die Athleten, damit hier wirklich möglichst faire Wettkampfbedingungen sind. Ganz kurz, weil wir würden ganz gerne auch ein Video dann nachher zeigen zum Thema Sustainability.
Yes, the sustainability subject has also been a big deal because a lot of people see a ton of wood being used on stage here, and we'll have a quick video on what the sustainability of this wood actually means for the sport and these athletes, and you know, for our environment as well, because these guys don't take sustainability lightly. So you'll see quickly with the next clip about how they actually take care of wood management sustainably after the events are done, and all of the cut and sawed wood is thrown into bins and taken back to the manufacturing area.
Und detaillierte Infos dazu, die gibt es jetzt auch am großen Bildschirm. Bitte noch einen großen Applaus für Bart Janssen. Dankeschön.
We as STIHL Timbersports pride ourselves that all wood is sustainably grown, harvested and recycled to minimise the overall amount of wood processed. Firstly, this popular wood is grown on certified plantations. Secondly, the white pine for our sawing disciplines is only sourced from certified forest management. After all our STIHL competitions, all the spent wood is collected and recycled right down to the wood chips and sawdust, which, for example, is converted into renewable energy in the form of wood pellets for biomass. We quest to find certified partners. This ensures that all newly planted trees are nurtured and managed, promoting maximum efficiency and sustainability for the future conservation of our valuable forests.
Therefore, as you can see, with good harvesting practices and good management with silviculture, the ground is quickly replaced by new trees, or could even be used for arable for farmers and future rotations.
All right, again, the athletes being responsible for setting up their blocks atop the tree stands for the springboard, and you can see what's actually happening in the background here as Joseph and Floti explain to the audience everything that's going on for this discipline coming up next in the springboard. And it is one of those disciplines that I like to refer to as my maker or breaker, but we also do have the World Championship coming up, which is going to have this discipline in it, and as part of the World Championship in individual sport, we have 6 disciplines in there. And one of the things that we love about the World Championships is the atmosphere. And even these events that are locally set up have great crowds coming in. The atmosphere is good. People are enjoying themselves, having a good time. And this is exactly the kind of thing that makes timber sports such a spectacular and fun event to watch. You come as a family, and it's basically super easy to understand. The first guy to cut through the wood has the fastest time. The fastest time gets the best points, and the best points move on to the next rounds. And we're going to get a chance to take a look at some of the atmosphere that we've seen in previous events. And one of the most outstanding events for atmosphere was back in 2019 in Czechia. It was just an absolute bomb of an event. It was so incredible. It was so loud, and we all had such a great time there. And that is really the pinnacle of where the atmosphere really comes from. But we see that at every single World Championship we've ever been at. The atmosphere is just amazing, and hopefully we can get that clip coming up shortly.
Richtig bezahlt, die dabei zu haben, denn die nächste Disziplin, die ist Springboard. Wir werden jetzt dann gleich auch ein kurzes Informationsvideo spielen können, Josef, aber wenn du aus deiner persönlichen Erfahrung die Disziplin jemand beschreiben müsstest, der noch nie zuvor Timbersports gesehen hat, wie würdest du das machen?
Springboard clip or atmosphere clip?
Das ist relativ einfach. Du nimmst deine Axt, schlägst deine Pocket, steckst ein Brett rein, stößt da drauf, nimmst mit deiner Axt ein zweites Pocket, stößt wieder ein Brett rein.
So Joseph talking about the things that they need to do for the springboard, and let's take a quick look at the discipline springboard and what actually needs to happen with these athletes before they can get to the top and cut that block off and get the points they need in a very, very difficult discipline that requires all of your skills. Let's take a look at the tool and discipline for springboard.
Und vielleicht ein bisschen besser erklärt als von dir und mir, zeigen wir euch jetzt. Schaut einfach zu und wenn es nachher noch Fragen gibt, werden wir es beantworten.
Springboard. Springboard simulates the traditional way of felling trees, climbing up over thick roots. First, notches known as pockets are chopped into the log. 2 springboards are then anchored into these pockets. The athlete then climbs up to chop through a 27-centimeter thick block of wood in the fastest time possible. So springboard is up next here, and as I mentioned, this is for me a maker or breaker, because in this particular discipline you can not dawdle. You have to have a good pocket on the bottom, get your board in. Less important is that pocket than the second pocket at 2 meters high up. That pocket needs to be on point, needs to be quick. The board needs to go in there so that you can start working confidently and safely on that top block. Now what you'll see here that differs between the standing block chop is these guys will cut through very deeply on the first side and move over to what I like to call the awkward angle on that second side to cut through the block completely. And again, from both sides it needs to be cut through, but here you'll see slight differences with the athletes and how they manage this. So our first heat up, Thomas Hofbauer going up against Florian Hegele. We're looking for clean, quick pockets, a quick jump up onto the boards, and a clean cut through that top block and the fastest time possible. And once again, it's not about eliminating the guy that's next to you on stage. It's about trying to get the fastest time possible and accumulate those 16 points if you can be the fastest guy, and really make yourself solid, because we're only taking 6 of the remaining 8 athletes into the final round, which is the hot saw. You can see Christophe Geissler having a quick look at the block that he's going to be working on and mentioning something to Andy Hall, so they'll come over and have a quick look and make sure that everything is okay. He might request a change, I don't know. He's going to be competing in heat number 2, so seems like he's okay with everything so far. So here comes Florian. And there's Thomas Hofbauer. Seems pretty relaxed. Thomas Hofbauer currently sitting in 8th position in the overall rankings. He's got a 126.48 personal best. I'd like to see him improve on that. And Florian Hegele, a 108.88. I should point out there is a 2-minute 30-second time limit, so if you do go past that time limit,
okay, gentlemen, athletes ready,
you risk a DQ. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Four-hit pocket for Florian Hegele. And that board looks good. It took 6 hits for Thomas Hofbauer to get there. Second pocket, Florian taking a little more time on. Looks like that one was 6-7 hits. And Thomas about the same. And getting a quick check on the board. Now we see Florian's board is sagging a little bit. Thomas Hofbauer's board's got a little bit better angle on it. So here, the problem with Florian's board is it's sagging. It's not really holding on to the purchase, and that means he's going to have to step forward on that board, and he's going to be doing what's called shoulder cutting, so not really getting the power into those drivers that he could well do. You can see Thomas has got himself a really good board. Florian already on that second side, so we may see a good time by Florian. He's going to have a personal best there. Oh, maybe not. It took him a little bit longer. There may be an additional couple of seconds on that clock, but Thomas Hofbauer definitely will take a 109.79 personal best to the bank. He's going to like that one, and clearly he's been working on it. We'll have to see what the actual time was here for Florian Hegele. It's a 1:02.20, so he does in fact get a few seconds off his personal best, and he's happy about that. Both these guys with PBs, and they'll be super pleased with that run. Surprising, because Florian Hegele's board up top was, I'll say it, atrociously hanging. That's some gumption by Florian Hegele on that board, though, and the power
Both cuts are good.
that he has in his upper body, arm, and shoulders was a big difference maker for him because of the way that that board was hanging. Oh my goodness, it was so good, though. All right. First pocket by Florian, 4 hits, nice and clean. He got his board in there, and then he didn't worry about it too much. He got that second pocket, about 7 hits, and you could see he got up onto it, and then it immediately started to hang as that metal tooth was trying to find purchase in the tree. Stepped up close to the block and started cutting on that second side, and I think he probably would have been under a minute had one more driver not been needed there. But a great time by Florian Hegele, as Thomas Hofbauer also had a beautiful final couple of drivers there, and Thomas with a 109.54, Florian with a 102.20. So really, really good times in the books, and 2 personal bests for our first 2 athletes here from Germany. Okay, springboard heat number 2, Cyril Papst up against Olivier Reinhardt. I almost called him Olivier. It's that mustache. I have to talk to him about that. I think he shaved it off already, though. Olivier Reinhardt. The sexiest man in Timbersports. Okay, Cyril Papst. A 104.10 personal best for him. Ollie Reinhardt, guaranteed, has been working on this discipline. He's been okay. He's been solid. He's been good with this discipline. He hasn't been great. I promise you he's been working on this discipline, though, because it is one of those disciplines that is maddening if you can't get it exactly right. There you see his personal best, 1:14.56. That is a pretty solid time. He wants it under a minute. Will he be able to pull it off?
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
That's a lot of focus right there.
To your timber.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Four-hit pocket by both guys. Setting the boards, and on top they go. A little bit of excitement by Ollie as he put that axe in pretty tight. Six-hit pocket for Cyril Papst on board number 2. Ollie's still working on that second board, and this is where Ollie gets into a bit of trouble as he wants to get that board in a good position and make sure it's solid. So this is where it could benefit him. He took a little bit more time with the board, and you can see the angle is very good. Cyril Papst, meanwhile, has a sagger, and like Florian before him on that board of his, he's got to step forward on the board, and hopefully that tooth doesn't give way. A quick look by Cyril, and he's going to come down and reposition that board. So that's a problem by Cyril Papst right now, as he's going to have to reset everything. Ollie Reinhardt looking good, and he's going to get through there in a personal best, 105.58. Improvement for Ollie Reinhardt. And that's some relief right there. Good job by Oliver to get done and dusted. Now that first board from Oliver, a 4-hit pocket he was in, but it was saggy. But he doesn't care about that first board. It's that second board, and it is beautiful. Cyril Papst had to go back down and reposition that second board. So his time is running away on him, is well past his personal best here. But he will get through that in under the 2:30 time, or should do, in fact. as he's on that second side already. Yep, you can see it start to wiggle, and there it goes, 1:45.47. So that's the slowest time in springboard so far for Cyril Pabst. And that means he may be in a little bit of trouble. He is on the bubble at the moment with 2 guys or 2 runs still to go. All right, so Cyril Pabst at 1:45.21. And Ollie Reinhardt with a personal best 1:05.28. Like to see it. The first 3 guys on our list have personal best. Cyril Pabst, he would have been good, except he had to go back and recut that second pocket because he did not feel confident in that second board. Now here you see the first board from Ollie Reinhardt. It sagged, but he didn't care. He wanted to have that second board in place solidly. He took more time on the second board. I think he had probably 8 hits to get that second pocket set, but that second pocket was solid. That tooth took purchase. He got up there, and he had a good solid stand position to work on that top board. Now you could see on the background there, Cyril's board was just sagging and sagging and sagging. He took a quick look down at it. You might even be able to see where he took a look at it. No, I guess not. And he had to go back down, reset that pocket, put his board back up. By virtue of that alone, he lost a ton of time, but great run by Ollie Reinhardt. Second fastest springboard time so far. And here you can see Cyril struggling, and that's why he got that 1:45. But once his board was in the second time around, very nice board. All right, setting up the stage now for heat number 3 and 4. And that's going to be between Christophe Geissler and Peter Bauer. And then Danny Martin and Marcel Steinkemper.
Kurzer Einspieler, der ein Statement des heutigen Tages widerspiegelt. Danny Martin zu schlagen, das wäre ein großes Ziel, oder?
Unbedingt, das wäre das Nummer 1 Ziel seit 5 Jahren. Und bis jetzt ist mir noch nicht gelungen, der ist immer zu gut. Aber vielleicht dieses Jahr klappt's.
The goal for him today is to beat Danny Martin, and he says, yeah, he's been trying it for 5 years. Maybe today's the day, but Danny's so strong, it's going to be a tough one.
Nicht unbedingt. Ich bin vor etwas über einem Jahr runtergeflogen, habe mir den Arm gebrochen und hatte immer nie dieses Selbstvertrauen, das ich brauche. Und heute hat es mal Klick gemacht und oben beim Top hat es dann einfach gerauscht, ja.
So a year ago he fell down, broke his arm, and that's one of those injury bugs that I was talking about with Oliver Reinhardt. And today it went, it made a good click for him, and it's a good time, and that brings his confidence level back up.
Alles rausgeholt. Generell heute hat man das Gefühl, den Vibe hast du.
Ja doch, Hauptsache viel Kraft und manchmal nicht so genau.
Ja, aber das sind Dinge, an denen man arbeiten kann. Mit Josef rede ich die ganze Zeit über all diese Details. Vielleicht kannst du das auch für alle, die jetzt zuschauen, einmal ein bisschen auf den Punkt bringen, weil du gerade die Kraft erwähnt hast. Und es sind unfassbar viele Details in allen Disziplinen. Ist das eine von diesen Disziplinen, wo es vielleicht noch ein bisschen mehr darauf ankommt, dass alles passt?
Absolut, hier braucht man am meisten Technik. Eben wenn man runterfällt, ist
So this is a discipline that needs the most technique and you know, a little bit of bravery as well, but it worked out well.
Ja, den Danny Martin schlagen, was denn sonst?
Yep, got a goal for today is beat Danny Martin, what otherwise? All right, so Ollie Reinhardt currently sitting in second place with a very fast 1:05.28, and we're going to take a look at behind the chop, a quick look at a clip from Team USA.
Yeah, this year our team is really strong. I feel is always a threat on the stage.
Stand to your timber.
What makes our team special this year is just the camaraderie.
Get together with the team, focus our efforts, and bond as a team.
We're not going to try to work on getting better. Like, we already are as good as we are.
Team USA is getting a little bit older.
You take that to heart and learn from it. They've done it.
Just trying to be as consistent as possible.
We've worked hard as a team to do what it takes to make up that one swing.
There is no margin for error on those, and they're doing it as quickly as humanly possible.
You know, Australia is so hard to beat. It's really because they're the strong wood choppers.
baby. Here we go.
They chop a lot more than we do in the U.S.
Smile, Braden.
Yeah, they're incredible axemen, but yeah, nobody's unbeatable.
How much pressure is Team USA under now, having watched what Team Poland did?
Everybody has stepped it up to another level.
I think I beat you in the stock saw, though.
If everything goes right and the wood is good.
You know, if there's one team to do it, I think we're the team to do it.
It's time to do or die.
All right, behind the chop Team USA, and they've been close. They've been close many times in the last 3-4 years. Will 2026 World Team Champion be the US, or will it be a repeat by Team Australia, or will New Zealand make the push for that position atop the podium? There are so many good teams. We saw Poland streaming in from the possibility with their very, very strong team. You know, it's going to be a tough call, and every single team worldwide is starting to improve and get better and better. But there are some elite teams. Australia, obviously one of them. The USA, definitely right there with them. New Zealand, and of course Canada. We saw Poland, as I mentioned. So these are all teams that have a very, very good chance of winning the World Championship. But it's going to be a tough job going up against Australia, who are 6-time back-to-back-to-back winners. It's unreal. All right, next heat's lined up. This time it's going to be Christophe Geissler going up against Peter Bauer. So it seems to be a discussion with Dan Jensen about a small adjustment on the block itself and the stanchion that is in the way of Christophe Geissler. So they'll reposition that stanchion. That's a stability stanchion to make sure that the tree has its hold on the stage to the other side because of where Christophe Bauer is Christophe Geissler, is chopping from. And this is what we saw Christophe talking to Andy Hall about earlier on. And the stage crew doing their very best to acknowledge the things that need to be taken care of for these athletes to make sure that they have the best possible headspace and equipment for the competition and getting ready to go. So here we go. Christophe Geissler going up against Peter Bauer. So far, Christophe Geissler, one of 2 athletes, I believe, that has a tree time of under a minute. 53:06. Season's best currently, 41:51. It's a very good time. Tough one to beat today. Peter Bauer, a 102.66. So,
okay, gentlemen.
Could
athlete
go to the top
ready.
spot if he
to your timber. 3
is good
2,
and fast today.
1,
Let's see.
Go.
Four hit pockets, both of them looking good. Boards up. Peter Bauer, quick onto the board. Christophe Geissler right there with him, setting those second pockets. 4 hits for Christophe Geissler. So this is the critical board for him. He needs to get it in place, get up there and start working on that top block. It seems to have good purchase, and if he can get that back foot back there and start feeling confident on that board, he is going to get going there. Peter Bauer, also a very nice board. So now just nearing the 40-second mark, and he is into the swing of things up top there. And both these guys are looking very good, like we may have a solid time here. I'm pretty sure neither one of them are going to be under a minute after this is all said and done, as we're getting close to it. Oh, wait, maybe I might have spoken too soon, as Peter Bauer has moved on to the second side of that block. No, he's gone past a minute, but we may see a personal best. No, that's not going to happen either. The 102 has been passed by. But Peter Bauer with a 107.19, that puts him in third place. And Christophe Geissler, interestingly enough, and a 111.04 has him down in fifth place in the springboard results. So last inspections by our judging crew of Bart Janssen and Andrew Hall. And we'll get a final call at the decision zone, but I'm 100% positive that these are going to be good cuts and times will be in the books.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Okay, so we'll take a look back at this springboard here. Pretty much a non-eventful heat between these two guys, both well evenly matched up. In this case, Christophe Geissler, by the tail of the tape, should have been the faster guy through, but the springboard's been running, you know, not exactly 100% as to plan. Nice thing I saw here, though, is both of them had 4 hit pockets for their boards on the bottom board and the top board. Both of them had excellent top boards. Peter Bauer up there, nice and quick. He seemed quite confident right off the bat. Took him a bit to get the flow going. It was 1 or 2 drivers, and then he got that speed up and up the pace. Tried to find maybe a little bit too early switch to the other side. Left himself a little bit too much material on that awkward angle, and just couldn't get quite quickly through it. I thought maybe, just maybe, we'd have an under 1 minute time for him, but he went over it by just a little bit. Okay, springboard heat number 4. Danny Martin and Marcel Steinkemper. Marcel mentioned earlier on in his interview 2 disciplines where Danny is slightly better than Marcel, the single saw and the springboard. Well, we saw the 2 of them battling against each other in the single saw. Danny was indeed a slight bit better than Marcel, and tail of the tape has the advantage going to Danny here on springboard as well. So let's see if Marcel can pull one out of his left hip pocket and maybe be a bit faster than Danny on springboard. Remember, after this heat, this discipline is done, and so is round 2, and we'll figure out what 6 athletes are going to go on to the hot saw final.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
They were in sync with each other. 4 hit pocket for Danny Martin. 6 hits so far. A little house cleaning for Marcel Steinkemper, and Danny Martin already setting that second pocket. Marcel taking his time there. He wants to make sure everything is solid. Danny Martin putting that second board in place now. I think it was about a 6 hit pocket for Danny on that second one. He's got a high angle on that one, solid board, but he has to step forward on it a little bit, so he is not so high up during the cutting. Marcel Steinkemper now finally getting that second board in place. Danny Martin, meanwhile, well and truly into that first side. He's going to have to make the decision to switch over to that awkward angle fairly soon. Let's see if he goes a bit deeper on this first side, and he does switch over to that awkward angle now. And Danny coming close to it. This is going to be a good time for him. A 52.49 personal best for Danny Martin. And Marcel Steinkemper struggling through on that first side, trying to find his line through there. He's got some pretty steppy hits as his board looks pretty good. Seems confident on that board. Back foot is well back on the board as well. The power is there. But he's gone over the minute mark here. The question is, how far over the minute mark is he going to go? He is slowly getting towards the bottom of the pile here as he switches to the second side. He's at 120 and change now, and Marcel has got 125.08. That puts him in 7th place here in the springboard. That is not going to help his overall results at all for Marcel Steinkemper. And really, I think the problem was that he took a lot of time on that second pocket. Good first pocket, good first board. Second pocket took a little bit too much time. You can see he is tired now after that one. Danny Martin, though, fastest time of the day, 52.26, and a very, very lovely personal best. And he is atop the rankings in springboard and in the overall.
Okay, congratulations. Both cats are good.
So 4 personal bests so far in springboard. Danny Martin, Florian Hegele, Olli Reinhardt, and Thomas Hofbauer. And Danny Martin with the fastest time of the day by a bullet with a 52.26. 10 seconds faster than Florian Hegele's 102.20. You can see here Marcel struggling a little bit to set that first board. He gave it a long inspection, and it's quite an angle on that first board as well. And I mean, the angle is nice to have because you've got a stable board, but then it also puts you up quite high, and so it changes your position as you're chopping, setting the second pocket as well as chopping on that top block. So there's all these adjustments that need to happen. So if the angle is too much, then you've got a bit of a problem with your cut into the board. So the top board for Marcel was very, very nice actually. And he just needed to get up there a bit faster, that's all. And otherwise it would have been a really, really solid run. So, springboard results. Danny Martin, clear leader there with a 52.26. Personal best for Florian Hegele and Olli Reinhardt in positions 2 and 3. Peter Bauer 4, Thomas Hofbauer 5, Christophe Geissler surprisingly in 6, Marcel Steinkemper down there in 7th, and Cyril Papst in 8th with a bit of a slow run on that top block. So we'll take a look then what that means for the overall rankings. No change in that top position. Danny Martin will hold on to that, but Olli Reinhardt will move into 2nd place, 10 points behind Danny Martin. So Danny Martin's got a stranglehold on the top spot. Peter Bauer, 4 points back of Olli Reinhardt with 44 in 3rd place, and Marcel Steinkemper in 4th place. And so that means we are going to lose Cyril Papst and Thomas Hofbauer from our list of athletes as we move on towards our final discipline, the stock saw, or excuse me, the hot saw, and these highly tuned, powerful saws that these guys will be using. So again, only 6 athletes will be moving on to this final discipline, and those will be Danny Martin, Olli Reinhardt, Peter Bauer, Marcel Steinkemper, Christophe Geissler, and Florian Hegele, the top 6 guys in our ranking. And so unfortunately for Cyril Papst and Thomas Hofbauer, they will be eliminated from the competition. So it's one more discipline left to go, and that is the hot saw coming your way shortly. And we see now, hopefully we'll have a graphic to make it official, who's actually advancing to the final round, our last round, round number 3, and the hot saw. And perhaps we get that graphic shortly here. Yeah, we'll see, what's going to happen. Now, the hot saw is sometimes known as the maker or breaker. I've created my own maker or breaker with the springboard, but really and truly the hot saw is one of those finicky devices. If it wants to work for you, it will cut beautifully, and if it doesn't want to work for you, it will leave you crying in your sawdust because of something happening. At the last event, we saw a chain come off for one of the athletes, and that basically was a did not finish, so that caused him problems. And so anything really can happen. Let's take a look at the hot saw.
These custom handmade race-tuned machines are built for maximum power and precision and to cut the wood as fast as possible in a competition. They are built with a 60 to 80 horsepower single-cylinder 2-stroke engine, often taken from a snowmobile or high-powered motorbike. The hot saw can weigh up to 30 kilograms and its chain rotates at over 250 kilometers an hour. The cost of a competition hot saw used in STIHL TIMBERSPORTS is upward of 6,000 euros. Hot saw. For the hot saw, power saws are called into action and the athletes have a space of 15 centimeters to cut 3 complete discs off a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. Jumping the start or cutting over the line will result in a disqualification.
All right, well, there you see the machine from Christophe Geissler. These things are incredibly powerful, incredibly dangerous, and incredibly loud. So if you're ever at an event near the front row, definitely bring some ear protection. Florian Hegele. Florian will be the first athlete out on stage. And again, I mentioned this in our previous show, but the hot saw is traditionally an event where you have only one athlete on stage. That is the way it is done at the World Championships. But here at the DACH, you will see 2 athletes on stage together. So in Heat 1, we'll have Florian Hegele and Christophe Geissler on stage. Heat 2 will be Marcel Steinkemper, Peter Bauer, and Heat 3, Olli Reinhardt and Danny Martin. It's a mathematical situation right now. Danny Martin is 10 points ahead of Olli Reinhardt. If, by sheer bad luck, Danny Martin is disqualified from a discipline where he is incredibly strong, that is this discipline, the hot saw, that means that Olli Reinhardt has a chance to win the DACH 2026 if he has a solid cut. But it's going to be a tough one because Danny Martin is really a master in this discipline. He's so solid, so comfortable with the hot saw. There's really nothing that can beat him. The only person that can beat him is him. So all the warm-ups happening backstage, and you can see those Lexan shields that the guys have set up behind the saws. They use those for protection from flying items. They also use those on stage to make sure that the athletes are separated from each other with the hot saws and to protect the athletes and the staff on stage from anything that may fly away from that chain rotating at 250 kilometers an hour, whether it be wood pieces or chain pieces or whatever. You just never know. So those Lexan shields are so drastically important for protection on stage as well as backstage. There we see Danny Martin. Danny did hold the world record for a short while in the hot saw discipline. That was recently taken by Nate Hodges at the US Men's Pro Semifinals Pool A 2025. That time of 4.28. It is blisteringly fast. You saw Peter Bauer there revving up his hot saw a little bit and maybe clowning a bit to the audience at backstage and taking videos and pictures there. And our last hot saw to get warmed up, Danny Martin and Pierre Puy-Barré on site. French champion. These machines are incredibly loud. It is insane. Danny very, very close to this machine, adjusting, I believe he's adjusting the fuel mixture at altitude with a little bit less oxygen flowing through the system. You want to adjust that so that you're burning as efficiently as possible. And again, race-tuned machines, extremely aggressive. They cut through these blocks like a warm knife through butter. They will also ruin your day if they don't start, if you have to wrestle with them, if you have a cutout because the wrestling match is won by the saw. Anything can happen. It was Emil Hansen actually at the last event where we saw, not Emil Hansen, excuse me, the last event the chain did come off, I mentioned, from one of our athletes, and he was having such an awesome day. Unfortunately, it was a DNF, did not finish, and there are our heats. 6 remaining athletes: Florian Hegele, Christophe Geissler, Marcel Steinkemper, Peter Bauer, Olli Reinhardt, and Danny Martin. The youngest by far, Marcel Steinkemper and Olli Reinhardt, 2 guys that came out of the rookies, and as I mentioned, Olli Reinhardt struggling with health and injury issues the last year and a half to 2 years, but he's been looking fantastic today, and by virtue, he is sitting in second place in the overall rankings, and that means he will battle Danny Martin, who is top of the rankings in the last heat, heat number 3. In the meantime, we move to the bottom 2 guys in our rankings here, in our top 6 at least, and that's Florian Hegele and Christophe Geissler. Christophe Geissler, okay, he is 6th place at the moment. Unusual spot for him to be in. And again, holding the national record for the hot saw for Switzerland. Florian Hegele, his personal best, 771. So many things need to go right here. One small misadjustment, saw doesn't start, chain is too loose, it comes off. Anything happens. Let's not also forget that these chains, although they do seem tight on those bars with 250 kilometers per hour, they will loosen up through each cut each time the saw starts. The power stretches those chains ever so slightly, and that causes them to slop around a little bit. So you have to decide between tight to start or a little bit of movement for a clean and quick start and no drama. And you can see these are strong gentlemen out there, and lifting those saws takes effort. And of course, the wrestling match with the saw, as you lift it and try and cut 3 cookies, not 2, but 3. Yeah, like I said, finicky machines and anything can happen. And you are the one controlling the machine, or the machine is controlling you. Here we go. Heat 1, final, stock saw. Hot saw, excuse me. One more time.
Go!
Oh, good cuts by Christophe Geissler, 620, but Florian Hegele with a fantastic 663, a personal best and a huge improvement. Oh no, we have a flag on the play for Florian Hegele, and he's going, I don't know, Bart, I don't know. It's under review, perhaps a cutout or an incomplete cookie. He definitely didn't go over the line, so it is the cookie that they're looking closely at. They want to make sure that they have the entire cookie there, and they will take the time and puzzle that thing back together to make sure that they're as fair as possible. But it does look like it comes down to a point at the bottom So that is going to be the big question here. Does Florian Hegele have a complete cookie there? It was very, very thin. So now they're going to those high-speed cameras at the competition control center, because what those cameras can see is if a piece of the cookie chipped out and flew away, thereby not being able to be put back together. So this will be down to a decision from the CCC and Schul Janssen.
So we made a video check to assess an incomplete cookie. However, both cuts are good.
Ha! Florian Hegele breathing a sigh of relief there. 6:52, a personal best for that young man. He is going to be happy with that result. Christophe Geissler, the fast time so far today with a 6:13. That's a good run there by Florian, and a last little bit of sweat on the brow. Let's look at this again. Oh yeah, there's that first cookie, and that's what they looked at to see if that little chip flew away. Second cookie, beautiful. Third cookie, beautiful. Little bit of an angle and wide at the bottom, but he didn't cut over the line. Christophe Geissler, no hesitation at all. Got into it, barely any swing on the transition. So much experience from the Swiss man. Super solid cut by Christophe. Well done by both of them. All right, remarking the blocks, resetting everything for our next heat between Marcel Steinkemper and Peter Bauer. Remember, only 15 centimeters in this case to cut 3 cookies, unlike the stock saw, which is 10 centimeters and 2 cookies. So Marcel going through his routine here, and you can see the grease marker there. He is giving himself reference points and lines to cut through and up. So Marcel Steinkemper, Peter Bauer, wow, what a solid time he's got there. 5:59. Didn't realize he was that quick on the hot saw.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your swords.
Peter Bauer playing the safe game, warming his saw away from the block. Any small mistake, tagging the block even lightly, will result in a DQ. So these animals, you want to make sure that you're not taking any chances.
30 seconds.
So a final wrap in the last 30 seconds here, and Peter will reposition his saw for the actual cut. Marcel Steinkemper is ready to go.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, good start. Oh, a cutout by Marcel Steinkemper. He's going to have to go back and cut again to make sure. Oh, he's left it. That means it's going to be a DQ for Marcel Steinkemper. That is a bummer. He could have gone back and cut another cookie, but he decided not to. And it looks like we have a flag on Peter Bauer as well. What is happening here?
So we have a disqualification on stand 1 for an incomplete cookie. We also have a disqualification on stand 2 for a cut line.
All right, so the two things that can and do happen quite frequently with these very aggressive saws is an incomplete cookie and a cut line. So 0 points for either of these two gentlemen. So that will push them down in the rankings depending on what the next two cuts say between Ollie Reinhardt and Danny Martin. There you can see the cutout by Marcel. He went back in and maybe he felt like he didn't leave himself enough material to go back down and do one more cookie. And there you see Peter Bauer. He hovered a little bit there, took himself a little bit too long. Oh yeah, you could see he had an angle on the upcut, didn't have anywhere to go, and he cut that line on the way down at the top. Unfortunate for these two German guys, as both of them DQ'd and 0 points in the hot saw. All right. So really this last one is for all the marbles. Danny Martin up against Ollie Reinhardt. At the moment, Danny Martin has 58 points. Christophe Geissler is currently sitting in second place with 55 points. Florian Hegele with 50 points. And Ollie Reinhardt, who will cut now, has 48 points. So he could well be a solid second on the podium if he has a good cut here. But he's got to get the cookies on the deck. So let's see if he can do that here. Danny Martin holding the national record with a blisteringly fast 4.84 seconds. Personal best for Ollie Reinhardt, a respectable 6.95. You can see him going through his routine here, making sure that everything is exactly the way it should be. Dan Jansen getting in there and just doing a quick cleanup, because sometimes that chain oil gets into a couple of different spots on the floor and makes it a little bit slippery, so we don't want that. And Ollie getting a little bit of a clean spot, as Danny Martin as well. Why not? Let's do it. And this is a discipline that Danny Martin thrives in. This is absolutely his discipline. He's owned this in Germany and for a short while around the world for quite a few years. And Danny's got himself a boisterous fan club in the audience here.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws.
Danny opting to take off the air filter for his saw, wanting to make sure it's getting the oxygen it needs into the chamber.
30 seconds!
This is what I was talking about earlier on, about the altitude and that mixture and how it needs to change ever so slightly to make sure that it's getting fed the oxygen it needs to burn clean. That's what Danny is very good at. He knows these machines very solidly, and Ollie Reinhardt ready to go here. Last heat of the day. This is the determining heat for the championship.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh my goodness, a non-start by Danny Martin. Ollie Reinhardt looking good. He's got 3 cookies on the deck. It's a 7-8-9. Could this be a win for Ollie Reinhardt? Danny Martin gets into it. He had to restart the saw, but his time is going to be atrociously slow for Martin. 16.77, and that means, let's see what that looks like. Christophe Geissler with the fastest time. Florian Hegele, Ollie Reinhardt sitting in third place. Danny Martin down in fourth. What a great run. Danny Martin had so many points, and that means definitely Ollie Reinhardt will be on the podium, but Danny Martin got the cookies on the deck, and it looks like it's fair. Let's see what the judge says finally at the competition, or at the decision zone at the front of the stage.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Danny Martin got in there and he got his 3 cookies on the deck, albeit incredibly slow. He is 4th in the hot saw, but by virtue of the fact that he had 58 points going into the discipline, he is your winner. And look at this. That's a beautiful first cookie by Ollie Reinhardt. Barely any swing on the transition. That's 3 lovely thin cookies for Ollie. You can see he's been trying and training that one. Danny, he just needed to get 3 on the deck and not get DQ'd, and that's exactly what he did. So a solid 67 points for Danny Martin in the overall. Ollie Reinhardt, 60 points, not that far off the pace there. And Christophe Geissler with 55. And that's where we're at here. Christophe Geissler, the fastest time in the hot saw, takes the full 18. Florian Hegele, second fastest and a personal best. Lovely. Oliver Reinhardt, 3rd place with 12 points. Then Danny Martin, unfortunately for Marcel Steinkemper and Peter Bauer, an incomplete cookie and a cut line causes DQs for them for 0 points, and that means we'll see both of them at the bottom of the rankings here, in the top 6, I should say. So final results, Danny Martin, 67 points, is your winner. Once again, he defends his title. Oliver Reinhardt, 60 points. Great position for him to be in. 2nd on the podium. Christophe Geissler moves up 2 positions into 3rd. So does Florian Hegele, moving up 2 positions into 4th. And Peter Bauer and Marcel Steinkemper, because of that DQ, 0 points, both drop down 2 spots into 5th and 6th places, respectively. So there you have it. Danny Martin does it once again, albeit kind of close at the end.
Da ist uns allen kurz das Herz stehen geblieben. Ich möchte gar nicht wissen, wie das bei dir war. Relativ kurzes Warm-up, habe ich das Gefühl gehabt, und dann startet das Ding einfach nicht.
Na, ich habe als letzter Jahr warm gemacht und die Hotzer war eigentlich noch richtig warm gewesen. Deswegen habe ich ein relativ kurzes Warm-up gemacht, um mich auch gut vorzubereiten. War auch alles gut gestanden. Es war einfach.
So he just had a short warm-up in the back there, and
hat gesehen, was passiert.
It just didn't start cleanly, but I got back in there and you saw what happened.
Zu fokussieren und dann nochmal das Ding anzustarten und einen gültigen Cut zu holen.
What does it take to focus and get that thing started again and in the end have that top spot?
Nicht so langsam gewesen. Ja, was hilft? Ich sag mal, aufstehen, weitermachen, aufwickeln, schneiden.
Yeah, I never wanted to have it be that slow, but what are you going to do? Get back up, keep going, and keep developing, and yeah, at the standing he didn't do too well, but the hot saw was definitely his tool, but it didn't work out the way he had hoped, but in the end he got there and he got 3 cookies on the deck, and that's what he had to hope for.
Deutsche Meister jemals, und ich bin der Erste, der das 5-mal geschafft hat hintereinander, und das war mein größtes Ziel. Das hat mir eigentlich den meisten Druck heute gemacht. Nervlich war ich eigentlich bis zur Mitte des Wettkampfs.
He says he's the first German athlete to get 5 German championships back-to-back, and that was his goal today, and that was what caused him the most stress.
Gesamttitel und meinen Dachmeistertitel zu verteidigen ist natürlich überragend, und da freue ich mich nur jetzt
drauf. And of course, defending his Dach title is a wonderful thing, and
wissen, was ich an der Hotsaw kann, und 2-mal die beste Zeit auf der Weltmeisterschaft geschnitten, und ja, bin happy.
Es hätte spannender nicht sein können. Wir haben einen neuen Rekordmann, und du wirst schnell was loswerden. Sehr gerne.
Ja, genau, ich muss was loswerden. Danke an die Fans, danke, dass ihr alle gekommen seid. Ein Riesendank an meine Familie. Ja, der größte Gedank, der gehört natürlich meiner Frau und meinen Kindern, weil die natürlich die letzten 2-3 Wochen auch einiges mitmachen mussten. Meine Vorbereitung.
And he says big thank you to all the fans, and of course a big thank you to his wife and child who have supported him throughout this whole situation and always support him, so he's very thankful for that. A big congratulations to Danny Martin, and he is back-to-back DACH champion. All right, so as we get ready for the awards ceremony, Danny takes his finicky saw off stage, and we will bring up all 16 athletes from position 16 to 4 before we bring up our final 3 at the awards ceremony on the podium. So it appears as though the stage is ready for our awards ceremony, and of course we will have the champagne shower afterwards, which is being prepared right now. That's always fun to witness, and we'll see the ants scatter when the flames fly. And handing out the trophy is the CEO of STIHL Austria, who was on stage at the opening ceremony and will be on stage here at the closing, Alexander Hembeck. So Alexander Hembach, again, the CEO of STIHL Austria, coming out onto stage shortly. He will be responsible for handing out the trophies. And as always, getting the athletes lined up backstage is kind of like herding turtles. It takes a bit of time to get them lined up and organized and in the right order. But we will be bringing all of the athletes who participated today up onto stage. And here we go, starting off with Lukas Wagesreiter, then Severin Bühler, Armin Kugler. Unusual to see him down this low in the rankings. Then we see Denny Vielwert, Rolf Hasler, Gunther Dahlinger, Pirmin Gnedinger, Nils Müller, Thomas Hofbauer, Cyril Papst, Marcel Steinkemper, Peter Bauer, and Florian Hegeler, positions 16 through 4. And of course the ever-present handshake line as the guys go down. Okay. So now, let's do it. Our award ceremony for the top 3 athletes of the day. Christophe Geissler had an interesting day. He was solid in the underhand chop, solid in the stock saw. He had a problem in the standing block chop and was low down in the rankings. Single buck, not his usual top spot. Springboard as well, not his best time at hot saw. 18 points for him with the fastest cut of the day, and 60 points in 55 points in total. Christophe Geissler with the bronze medal and third place here today. So another Swiss athlete on the podium, Olli Reinhardt. He stayed pretty consistent throughout the day, as single buck was probably his best performance of the day, as well as the springboard and a personal best there. His hot saw, really, really nice cut and a personal best in hot saw. 60 points for him, just 5 ahead of Christophe Geissler, and the silver medal going to Oliver Reinhardt. But the man everybody was here to beat was unbeatable today. Danny Martin was solid in the underhand, in the stock saw. The standing block chop, not so hot, but the single buck and the springboard, 2 top spots there. The hot saw, he was slow, not his usual speedy self, but 58 points leading into this final. 267 points at the end, 7 points ahead of second place Olli Reinhardt, and that is your defending champion taking the top spot on the podium once again. Danny Martin, your gold medalist and DACH 2026 champion. He wants to do the champagne shower right away, but Alexander Hembach has to hand out the medals and the awards first. So there you have it. Christophe Geissler, Olli Reinhardt, and Danny Martin. Your podium here for the STIHL Timbersports DACH Final Pro 2026. And now we'll get the German national anthem and then Danny's champagne shower. Christophe Geissler Champagne was a little too excited about this national anthem as the guys celebrate. Everybody else scrambles for the sidelines, and Danny Martin trying to defend himself, but has no chance against Olli Reinhardt and Christophe Geissler, and the enjoyment is seen by all three of these guys on stage. A big congratulations to our top three, and wow, what a day it was today. We had our ups, we had our downs, we had some surprises. Armin Kugler not even making it into the top 6, let alone the top 8. Yeah, that's what's so beautiful about the sport. Anything and everything can happen, and we saw that this evening at the awards ceremony. A cork pop before it even had a chance to get shaken up. So a fantastic day all in all for our STIHL Timbersports DACH Pro Final 2026, and now we can look forward to a couple more events before the end of the season, including the European Trophy, which is coming up, and we'll take a quick look here at the European rankings. And at the moment, Emil Hansen from Sweden is atop the rankings with 54 points, and the top 8 athletes will go on to participate in the individual world championships. Danny Martin is an automatic bye, so we will have him in there, and that means Emil Hansen, Glenn Pendleton, Pierre Puy-Barré, Olli Reinhardt, Martin Kalina, Iker Vicente, Alessandro Chiapponi, and Viborn Sonsteby will be participating so far in the World Championship. That still may change as we have Poland coming up in a week and a half's time. So we'll see how that all pans out. In the meantime, we hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Again, the top 8 athletes from the European ranking will go on to the individual world championships because Germany is hosting. Germany's Danny Martin will automatically have a bye, and then we have the 2 or 4 nations from around the world, America, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, also participating in the World Championship at the end of the year in October, on the 30th and 31st of October. So, tons of action still coming your way. Lots of stuff still to happen. We hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Let's take a quick look at the highlights of the day, because there are a lot to be seen. And, you know what, guys? I hope you enjoyed the show today. I'm really looking forward to the trophy format, which is coming up in 2 weeks' time in September on the 11th, 12th, and 13th in Poland. We're going to have the European Trophy, we're going to have the Polish Pro and the Polish Rookies, and then we'll move on to a couple more smaller events and round out our season in October on the 30th and 31st in Stuttgart to celebrate a whole bunch of stuff. 1, Halloween, of course. 2, the 100th anniversary of STIHL. And, of course, 3, the Team World Championship and the Individual World Championship. And that list you just saw of the European ranking, again, the top 8 athletes from the European ranking will move on to the Individual World Championship. So, that said, I think we're pretty close to being at the end of it today. We'll give you a few highlights in just a few seconds' time, and we hope you guys enjoyed the show today because it was a banger. 3 nations represented, 16 athletes, and just 3 atop the rankings, and Danny Martin once again defending his title. Take care, everybody. Ciao.